family handle this. Dogs and riders, family handle this. Family handle this. Family handle this. Dogs and riders, family handle this. Dogs and riders, family handle this. I am chaos.
Yes, good afternoon to each and everybody, all my loved ones, all my brothers and sisters, all my beloveds, all you listeners. I graciously thank you for tuning in. It's your brother Abz, just getting ready. Today's topic is going to be a very easy one, easy to digest. Basically, we're going to talk about black privilege and can you feel it. I'm going to play a couple of tracks to put us into the mood, and I shall get straight into it. I hope you've had a very blessed weekend thus far with good health, energy, good vibes, good news. I send peace, love, and universal blessings to every living organism on this earth with great love, and well wishes to all my people that's listening in. Today is for my people, especially my melanated people. Do you understand and do you feel and do you know what it is to have that black privilege? So, as I said, I'm going to start off with a track with Brother Jay from X-Clan, and it's called Dark Sun Riders.
Dark sun riders, family handle this. Dark sun riders, family handle this. Dark sun riders, family handle this. Family handle this. Family handle this. Family handle this. Dark sun riders, family handle this. I am chaos upon the verse. Interplanetary energies, been a cosmic refugee to get deep. Metamorphosize and funk. Cause my level of my bass and my treble is strictly tied in. Pure chaos. Adding to the jam, not the jiff. So come along, we berry split it on thick. Now some say demented, some say it's sick. Say fighting for the justice is old politics. But heal through my beak. I reach through the streets and the mountain valley peaks for more than merely techniques. So rhythm to phrase. Cosmic rays keep me open. Never catch me choking. Solomon pulls deep. Deeper, deepest. Atlantis a basement. Straight from the core, I disintegrate the pavement. Volcanics erupting blue-black. So take your mental notes as we double on back for some golly data. No more Google and no Gaga. Brother turns data as we whoop up new batters. Fresh off the lips like the cock wants the hen. Prepare your mind, run to your children. In the valleys and the seas, I can hear it in the breeze. Dark sun riders, family handle this. On set for sun, you know we merge for the one that's the dark sun riders, family handle it. No matter narrow path coming, if it's wide open range, I release the energies of mentally maintained. Evolution is the weapon and you're my target. That's the dark sun riders, family handle this. Handle this indeed, no second guessing. I ride out the session like the god that's possessed. I'm soaking the airways with untamed chaotics. My cerebellum readings on the blink, I feel the zone. It's not the nickelback funk, son, let's be easy. Don't rush me for no L's, kid, don't mind, I'll make them wheezy. I'm in a circle for purpose of my virtues. Primo energy, cipher does the wonders. As we build within the guild, solo one. Keeps it dark and funky, black booting with the sons of the fathers. One time for your mind, enticing, strictly for refinement on your spine. This revelation will unlock and unravel. Prepare for travel, begin the ending. Focus presidents, non-bogglement. Never to diffuse or deter the God sent. I throw my knotted rope for the knuckle firm grip. To pull up the round for the dark sun flip. When I'm traveling the seas, I can hear it in the breeze. Dark sun riders, family handle this. On set for sun, you know we merge for the one that's the dark sun riders, family handle it. No matter narrow path coming, if it's wide open range, I release the energies are mentally maintained. Evolution is the weapon, you're the target as the dark sun riders, family handle this. It's the house of eclipse, first wave attack. I can feel it in my bones, I can feel it in my back. It's the down home rhythm, so you know we rise up to do the right thing. It's time to give them what they want as I storm in like fluids when the world's on fire. I avoid the heathens and straight praise the ire. Enough principles as I vibe and I pull. Less chemicals, feed my body vitals. No, there's no bull as I keep my mind full. Quite flexible, so you know it's understood. This is dedicated to the ones who couldn't greet me. Call me devil cause I came in super freaky. Black boots, black wings, my thing. The old double D in the dark sun swing. Yes, roots man from the center of the earth. I represent the funk through birth, quite enough. From verb to vibe, from dark to sun. There's the freaky dicky tones of the god Tehun. If the mortals don't get it and it don't seep in, resurrect me with my mic, I'll go at it again. It's like y'all. Like that, it's on the dark sun in. Definitive rock, it's like.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, I send more love, more blessings, more greetings to each and everybody. As I said, I'm going to just play a couple of tracks to get you in the mood. I hope everybody has had a very, 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 very good weekend, as I said. And really, we're just thinking about health, wealth, and energy in the mind, in the spirit, and in the body. Again, I'm going to be going and telling you about black privilege. You understand me? And it's really, really, really beautiful. You know, so I'm going to be playing something to put you in the mood. You understand me? And to remind you, yeah, that we're here to win. And we're not here to lose. We're here to conquer our environment in the nicest way possible, to be familiar with ourselves and to be happy. The most important thing what I'm trying to promote is self-love, black love, you understand me? You know, pride in yourself, pride in your heritage, and pride in everything. So yeah, this one's called Black Pride, Brown Sugar. We're just going to keep on that energy. I'm going to try and build that energy up, feel good about being melanated, you know, especially the most darkest of you all. You really have got that privilege on pat and on lock. So I'm gonna, and it's not to degrade anybody that's my complexion or thing. It's just the truth. So we're gonna go into all of this, what, you know, why we should look at the positivities that we've got inside of us, that's around us, on us, and use all of this energy and this positive energy to bring more positive and to feel just good. This one's called Black Pride, Brown Sugar. Just thought I'd just drop our one reggae on you now.
And I'm so proud.
Yes. As I said, I've greeted everybody. I send more love to everybody today. We're gonna go into black privilege because like I've been going on about our identity being stolen and all the things that's happened to our nation and to our people and that we're still subjected to. But the most important thing is that how we've been dealing with it is nothing short of miraculous. And whilst we know about the privileges these guys have set up for themselves, these elite have set up, and how they've set the structure up to make sure every one of their people enjoy these privileges, what we got to realize, what has got us to this stage, is our privilege that we have got. And I don't really want to use the word black because we as Moors, we know what black really means, we know the real meaning of it, but because everyone's still stuck on that word, I shall use melanated privilege. Yeah, and if I slip back into that black thing, then you understand what I mean. Yeah, I mean it's melanated privilege, or God privilege. I should really break it into that because we're living under God's grace. We are His property. It's been as plain as day in every holy book they've written about our people, and it's very important to understand this privilege, how it takes us far and beyond any form of injustice, any form of degradation, any form of any institution or bodies of people trying to hold us back, whether it's be via genocide, via anything that they're still trying and still doing in different ways. What keeps us supremely above them is the fact we enjoy this thing that we take for granted every day, and that's black privilege. And the black privilege, or the new melanated God's privilege, is the fact that we are God's property. He has coated everybody with melanin to actually stamp that seal of approval, of His approval on us. And because of this, because I've gone into melanin already, about these supernatural properties of melanin, how it is basically we're walking bioelectric organisms. That's we've got access to all of the cosmos because of that melanin. Now, for some people might think, oh, it's a bit over my head, and this stuff, oh God, it isn't. It's within. I mean, long time ago we was taught about people doing magic, juju is this and this, that, and the third. It's had bad press, but what we have to realize, that's just part of our privilege systems that we've got. And for anybody that's misusing it, that's up to them. But we can actually use these energies and these privileges to actually overcome many obstacles. Now, I ain't no juju priest to teach you this. I'm just telling you these things is inherent in you. This is all part of your energies. Now, what I wanted to go into is the fact that the skin color is so damn important, because within the skin color is the DNA, and within the DNA is all the knowledge. You see, so that brings us directly to the stars. All scientists has already proven that everything that's in our bodies is actually what comes that's outside in space already. So we've got what they call like stardust. The things that constitute stars is actually inside of the bodies of the melanated being. Now, people say, "Go, what's that got to do with us?" It's a lot, because it will explain why we're very spiritual people, and why that in any form of religious practice we go into, we bring that energy in it. Whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, whether it's Judaism, whether it's anything, we've got a spiritual energy that is so powerful that we can actually make things happen. That's what they would class as supernatural. I.e., when people go to church on like today, and a lot of Pentecostals will start jumping up, beating their tambourine, and building up an energy, building up a spirit, until they start speaking in tongues. Now, a lot of people say, oh, there's miraculous stuff and this and that. This is just natural to us, because they're putting this energy and put it in and said, oh yes, and then this and that came into me. Now, that spirit was already in you. So everything you see coming out through the tongues is that natural energy, that the energy that's been built up inside of you has made you have the ability to speak in another language, which is powerful, because it shows you that your melanated body can access different types of realities. So if your reality was just to speak a certain language, you've been able to transcend that and actually touch into another language, which is your own energy bringing that to you, which is a gift from the Most High Divine. So we've got to look at these privileges and look at all the different ways how our privileges bless us, because we interact with the sun as solar beings. We get energy and charges out of that sun. We can send messages to each other subconsciously, because I'm very sure there's whoever's listening will have had this experience where you've actually thought of somebody and been thinking of them, probably even mentioned them for the day, and then you see them the same day. You know, this is not coincidence. This is all part of the network of privileges that we really enjoy. And we, well, not enjoy, I should say. Those of us that understand it, enjoy it. Those of us that don't understand it, take it for granted. And it's something we really do need to key in and tune into, because that's what's going to be part of our saving graces. And one of the ways that we can actually interact with each other, show each other love, show each other respect, and get on with each other. Yeah, because the whole point of this is, first of all, is the self-love. Once you got that self-love and all of this sorted out within yourself, feel happy about who you are, feel happy about how you've been blessed, and look at all the pluses that you've got from this. You'll get more, you'll understand more about yourself, because a lot of us do not understand what we're here for and what we're here to do, which is not important at the moment. But a lot of people might be asking these questions. But what you really do need to be asking yourself is, do you really know who you are? You know, how you've been configured, why you are like this. Why is it you come from an ancestral lineage of power? You know, where did they get that power from? You know, and why is it that we're not living in that power as we should be? Yeah, and very, very important to understand that, because once you understand what you've got, the machinery that you've been given, the powerful body you have, then you'll be able to release more. It's like the playing the video games, kids playing the video games and finding out the cheat codes to get up to the next level. You know, but these cheat codes we got are not really cheat codes, they're codes. You understand me? They're codes we have to access, or we do not realize that we can access. And as I said, we're spiritual people. We astral project ourselves when we sleep. There's many instances where things happen where we class it as supernatural, where a loved one might have died, and you might have felt an energy from that, or you might, because a lot of us feel the energies of when our people pass, and we put it down to just supernatural, but that's just our energy that's so tuned in to our loved ones that we can feel when their essence has gone from the body. So, you know, and this is something I felt already, even when my mommy, God bless her soul, went. You know, that was a very terrible day for me, because I came from work. We knew she was about to go. We was standing, you know, literally on standby waiting, but it was a horrible wait. I came from work one day, and I must have, yeah, this is true stories. I came from work one day, came straight in, and it was a Friday. I remember that. And normally, like on a Friday, I'll go in, have a little smoke or drink or whatever, and then I'll get dressed, get ready to go out or whatever, or greet the children and then go up the road. I just came straight in. I'll never forget this. As soon as I come in from work, came straight in, and all of a sudden a tiredness came over me. Just one time, out of the blue. It wasn't like I was coming home and feeling tired. And as soon as that tiredness came over me, I fell down on the settee, just out like a light. So when I was sleeping, got a phone call. Soon as I got the call, in my mind and in my heart, I said, "Oh my God, Mommy's gone." It was my sister. And as soon as I saw the phone ringing, and I said that was the reason why I felt that energy. And she said to me, "Oh, Dad, Tony, Mommy's gone, da 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 da," and like this. And this is just like one in a millions of stories where I know all those who's listening would have had that feeling and felt that feeling. So this is all part of the black privilege. And some people say, "Oh, it's not really privileged to know when your family's dead." And it's not that. It's just that we're in tune with each other. That alone is a privilege, and we don't realize how much in tune we are with each other, that it's something that we ignore. And it's something we need to tune into, because it's something that's natural to us. Yeah, I mean, it comes naturally. And with the research I've been doing on root races from Africa that practice spirituality still and practice animism, what they call animism still, and do supernatural things, it has really led me to believe it's something that we do need to really get into, and we do need to understand it, because it is part of our makeup. This is what makes us. So yeah, I'll be talking a little bit about that, because this is an important thing to me, and I think sharing it with you guys, and it will make you realize is that there's more to you than what you think. You know, there's a lot of people that's locked up in madhouse, and a lot of them are brilliant. Yeah, a lot of them are just so brilliant, because I've spoken to a lot of my brethren, I've seen it. So, you know, it's and my philosophy on this is that, or my opinion is that, some of us are so brilliant that we don't understand our own brilliance. So in not understanding our own brilliance, it can cause certain, like, mental illnesses, or what they will call schizophrenia or different things, where if you look at people that are artists, yeah, they have what they call alter egos, and when they do whatever they do, they'll have a persona that they've named, and they say this is all part of my alter ego. So as artists, they express themselves like this, and no one says, oh, you're crazy or you're mad. But when somebody that's in the madhouse says they're hearing voices, this, that, and the third, oh, you're crazy, you're schizophrenic. Now, I'm not saying that anybody with schizophrenia has got all these magical powers. I'm just saying that you've got to look at it from a different angle, because, you know, it's like the way we even treat people through with mental illness. We don't take it from a spiritual perspective. And maybe, just say, for example, somebody that's got schizophrenia is so powerful spiritually that they're tuning into different frequencies and not understanding this. You understand me? And different personas and different things. Because now we've got people saying that they channel, they do like they other entities can talk through them and stuff like this. And we're not calling these people mad. Yeah. Whereas there's a lot of people like this inside of a madhouse that say the same thing, but they've been given medication and all kinds of nonsense to play games with their bodies. So it's something that it's really for me exciting to think about, because it takes you far and beyond your norm. And I think it's something that's worth looking at, because when you look at all of history and look at our history, it reads like a really horrible story of what all of the degradation, of the genocide, of the torture, of the raping, and all the traumatic experiences that our nation of people have been through. But what I find so amazing is the fact that we've been able to take that, internalize it, and not turn it into a destructive force, but turn it into a positive force. And that's the birth of many great things. Like blues came out of that feeling of dejection, and that feeling of feeling like, you know, there was no answers to the problems that we were facing. And what a lot of brothers did, instead of they combined together to think about being negative or bringing negative activities, or even looking for revenge or what stuff like that, which is within your rights to do, they took the energy and divinely transmuted it or changed it into music, which I find very powerful. That's a black privilege right there. And this is a privilege that is so powerful that the whole world has been feeding off it and has been evoluting off of it. And it's actually been like when I talked about the races, you know, on the other show about the races, it's the same thing, because the RAS, what they did, they took all of the angst, all of the fears, and all of the bad energy that we was absorbing or being subjected to, and took it, changed it into a love frequency, and put it with some beautiful orchestrated music, reggae music, which they play, which plays at a frequency to relax your body and soul, and took us on a journey of like self-discovery, of internally seeking answers, of spreading love, spreading unity, and vibrating, changing the vibration, which is so important, because everything is built off of vibration. So on this note, this is like my tribute to all of us and to everybody that's been long suffering, whether it's a job, whether it's anything that you've taken on in life. What drives you, what is the driving force inside of you, is the fact that you've been able to tap into powers that you might take for granted, and it's all part of our black privilege, you know, and our melanated privilege. The I call it like the highway to God, you know, the phone line to God. It's like the energy that's made us, our creative energy, you know, feels us in such a way that when we express some feelings, we get some energy received back to us, and we have to tune into this energy. You know, we really do, because if we can use this energy again, like our ancestors used to do, but consciously use it and consciously direct it, I believe we'll get our powers back. The powers to heal, the powers to use sonics to heal people, the powers to use touch to heal people, because then you'll have that feeling, that energy feeling that you know, that you understand and that you're working with, which is so, you know, important to understand what melanin is and what melanin does, you know, and meditate, which is another way that you key into yourself, you know, and it's very, very important. So on that note again, right, I know I've gone into melanin, and it is one of our privileges that we do overlook. I'm gonna play a very short piece from Delbert Blair, where he will just go into the melanin aspect again because he's a master in this. May he rest well in heaven. And I'm looking for something to do with our hair that I saved, and I can't seem to find it. But this is important because I want to go from that into the hair situation because it's a real important one. Now again, I'm gonna go into this a lot and keep banging on this, just as I'm banging on the injustices. I'm also gonna balance it out with banging in on our energies and our powers, and things we can do to lift ourselves out of a doldrum. Because when you lift yourself out of a feeling like of despondency or hopelessness, you actually give yourself hope to challenge anything, you know. And it's just to change your mind state, and it's not easy because, you know, nothing comes easy, but it's something that if you dedicate your energies and times to, mixing with the right people, taking in the right knowledge, just being like, you know, looking for what's better. You understand me? You know you're not eating right, try your best to eat a bit better. And I'm telling you the same things. I'm fighting the same as everybody else just to get the right lifestyle that will bring out the best in you, that will bring out the beauty of what's inside, you know. And it's really very important that we do this, because once you change your mind, you change a lot of things. And it's like, I'll get up in the morning and I'll be feeling like a complete nasty piece of work, and it's because I've probably got up on a bad energy. I've argued with a member of the family or something like this or whatever, and I've let it harbor on and let it sit on my spirit. And then in that way, you know, if you notice when something negative is on your mind, every single thing associated with your mind is negative. Yeah. But if you make that change and say, you know what, stand back and look at this a little bit different. Why am I feeling like this? You know, let me try and change it. Let me play a rhythm that's going to bring something good out of me. Let me read something that's going to, you know, a positive affirmation that's going to make me see better. You understand me? So, you know, yeah, we need to be on that, you know, and we can change our vibrations. You understand me? Just by doing that, you know. So yeah, so I'm gonna play you a short thing from Delbert Blair, but I just found my the clip I wanted to play you guys. And I started off as well last week with I ended off last week with a brother called Brother High Priest Zamlik from a Bantu from South Africa. I will continue the rest of his discussion, because he actually covers black privilege deliciously without talking about it as a subject matter. But when you hear what he's saying, you will understand he's dealing with the privileges that we have access to and that we are not tapping into. Now, you know, this thing about our ancestors is very real, because we carry spirits all around where we go, and every single thing we do is always linked to spirituality, whether we're pouring a drink for in memory of our beloved, whether we're using libation, whether we're calling up our ancestors, which we're supposed to do. I have an uncle, but God bless him in heaven. He named all of his children, after one member of the family in our family line, which I was, at the beginning when I was growing up, I was saying, "Sure, that's whack, man. I'm naming all my kids different names and all these exotic names and that at the end and all this stuff." And then when I look back on it now with hindsight, I looked at what he was doing was we was keeping a family tradition together. You understand me? And he was with a European woman, you know what I mean? But he kept that African tradition of ancestral reverence, ancestral worship, because and I sat with him, discussed that, and he said, "Yeah, all my children are named after the family, so we're not forgetting them." He made sure he gave one my grandmother's name, one my granddad's name, one of my uncle's name, you know, and he went through the line of family. So he traced us back to some of the old family names, and I said, "Wow, look at that." And this man, he's from St. Lucia, and this is what he's done. So this is in line with what all of our ancestors, all the Pan-Africans do when they're having a great debate or a great talk. Before they talk, they pour libation, they go through all the ancient gods' name like Shango, and they name them, you know. Bobby Hemmett, a great metaphysicist, may he rest well in heaven, rest in power, and peace be upon him. He came and did the exact same thing. He actually done it in such a way where he named all of our ancestors in the different parts of the world, where people from Asia would have been worshipping them. He took it back, took that power back, and he called these names up because these were our ancestors. We've got like direct lineage to these gods that he's named. So it's very important to go into this. I'm gonna go into the hair because I don't want to lose this. So I'll go into the hair first, because that's one of our privileges that we do not understand, and we better get to grips with all of this, because when you're given this beautiful machinery, as much as I skiffle off my head bar like I was, you see my hair grows quick, but I will be graying it, grey and all, because it is a privilege, and I feel that privilege. There's a lot of power, there's a lot of electromagnetic energy circulating with that. So we need to go into that. So I'm gonna go into this quick vids. It's from a brother called Yaki, and it's called Yaki on the truth about hair, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And then straight on the back of that, I will go into Delbert Blair, and his take on Delbert Blair's take on melanin, which, I mean, we've covered the melanin, but I'm just here to remind you these are all part of your privileges. And it's like, like we're still children in the sight of the Most High, and it's like me reminding my youth, them, we've got to brush our teeth and this, that, and the other. I'm going to remind you, my brothers and sisters, take care of your melanin. You understand me? Take care of your hair. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mentality. Take care, ingest good spiritual knowledge. Ingest good programming. Program yourself to be spiritual. So that stuff they're sending through the TV, you can actually not watch none of that stuff. You got YouTube, you can go look for spiritual things on YouTube, and you can set your own program of how to lift yourself up out of doldrums and out of bad energy and about a bad feeling. Just feel good about yourself, feel good about things, feel good about what you do, feel good about what you achieve. You could have swept a rug, you could have wiped down the sideboard, but it's always in the way that you do things. Another quick one before I get into this video is that there was a clip from a Chinese kung fu movie that I was watching, and basically this young boy who's really a master, he was sweeping, and these masters were fighting and showing off and doing all these big moves and everything, and he's just watching them sweep. I see sweeping, and they're saying, boy, you don't know nothing, and he goes, you're just a lowly sweeper, just a lowly cleaner. And he said, no, because my master taught me that even when I'm sweeping, there's something to be learned from sweeping and in the way that you sweep. And I said, wow, I call that profound. This is our ancient knowledge coming back. So this is what it is. You could be doing the simplest of tasks, but it's the spirit that you do it in, it's the thoughts that you put on it, it's the energy that you do. And it's well known in science again and verified that water, which is the conduit of energy that we are 70% to 80% in our bodies were consisting of, is that water reacts to energy. So if you think something positive, it changes the vibration of the water and the pattern of it. And then, this is how it is. And we knew this, we've always known this. We know that if somebody, is you and somebody's falling out, like my missus would say, like, me and us falling out, she don't want me to cook for her because I'm going to put bad energy in her food. And that's correct, because you might say, no, I'm not. But deep down, when you're cutting the onion, you might say, rotted. You know what I mean? And this, that, and the other, and put bad spell on it. And then when you've done that, oh my God, you understand me? For truth, somebody could be sick. Stuff like this. So, it's just, this is all about the privileges, which is energy. And the energy I want you guys to feel is the feeling that no matter what job I'm doing, no matter how wicked my slave master might be, if you're unfortunate to be working under a slave master, which I would just call your boss, you understand me? You've got privileges that these guys do not enjoy. Because we could be doing the most miserable job in the world, but we still have time to sing and dance and bust to rhythm and whatever, and put a positive slant on it. So we've got to realize this energy. We've got to tap in, keep tapping in, because positivity brings positivity. So enough of my yakking. Let me go to Brother Yaki and let him just get into this, yeah?
Because that's the only way you can decode. So hair is very important. So if you're missing hair on the outside of your body, then that means you're missing hair where? And we're going to prove that the hair is the way you scan your environment. So we got to make sure that we pay attention to our hair. And that's why non-ether hair is important. That's why our hair grows towards the sun. That's where we get the Bantu locks from. We lock in that energy in. That's why black people must have their hair. Our hair was very religious. Our hair was very spiritual and very, very ancient, y'all. It really was. Like it was a whole ritual with our hair. We used to lay down and get our hair washed with juices and berries. Put a couple strawberries in there, boo. You know what I'm saying? Like hair is sacred because that's the only way you can decode and scan your environment. Because I'm showing y'all that the skin and the brain is the same thing, and through the hair of the skin and the brain, this is how you scan your environment and you download all the information in your environment, and this have everything to do with why you sick. So my skin is a part of my brain. I mean, make sure I ain't rubbing no lotion in there. You know, y'all, let me get the lotion. You gotta get, and look, the skin is so powerful and it absorbs. Think about all the chemicals, the perfumes, the cologne, all of the moisturizer that you're putting in your skin is made with all these chemicals. You are literally, when you taint your skin, since your skin is made from the same cells of your brain, you're tainting what? Your brain. A lot of y'all be in school taking tests, wondering why you can't think straight because you got a whole thing of Vaseline on. Your brain can't breathe. You done clogged your whole brain up because you done put all the oil on your skin. I know that's funny, but that's some true stuff though. Think about it. Your skin is the largest organism. The skin is the largest thing on your body. It's the largest organ on your body. Not only is it excretory, meaning it produces things like sweat and stuff like that, but it absorbs things as well. So we got to be very, very careful about what we putting in our skin. And if your skin is messed up, something is wrong with what? Y'all know what this is called? Holistic healing. Proteins. Again, I do not like the name protein, so we're going to call it simple amino acid structures. Can y'all say that? Simple amino acid structures. Y'all can't understand that you're vegan and you're plant-based, but I got one question. Where do you get your protein? Well, I be wondering. Hey, look, if nothing irritates me the most is that question, y'all. I'm telling y'all. That drives me up a wall. Because it's like, man, it's 2020 now. We should be already knowing that protein is not good for us. A neurotransmitter is impulses of electrical conductivity that shoots inside of your body that connects a certain part of your body with the other one. So say you need to walk. Guess what your brain going to do? Your brain is going to send messengers down to all the different cells inside of your leg because the body is made of cells, nerve, and lymph. All right? So the nerves is what communicates and commands the cells of the body. The lymphatic system is what cleanses the cells of the body. And the blood is what feeds the phytonutrients and oxygen to the cells of the body. So when you have melanin neurotransmitters, the melanin neurotransmitter, it runs throughout the body and it commands the body to do certain things. Like how I'm walking around, this is instant commands. It's telling my legs to move, so I'm moving. So it said that these melanin neurotransmitters are actually connected to the membrane receptors. So the skin or the hair scans the environment, then it gets the signal then tells the melanin neurotransmitter what to do with the body. So this shows you that the environment, how you receive your environment is actually what act out your movement. Your environment is what's instructing you to do your movement. Your environment is what instructing you to think. How your environment is how it molds your thinking. So if your environment is the ghetto, the projects, cockroaches, I grew up around a lot of those. Used to bring them to school all the time. Ask my mama. We grew up around a lot of roaches. But you see what I'm saying? This have a psychological process on you. Then you growing up in the suburbs somewhere. You got dropped off at school. You didn't have to ride on the bus. All these different variations of your environment is what molds and shapes your personality. Your personality actually comes from your environment. Y'all get that? Just think about it. And this is how you know that culture shows and manifests through the body. If somebody walked in here right now with all red on, with their right pants leg pulled up, with a red rag hanging out their left pocket, they're a what? They're a gangbanger. Did they have to tell you that? No, because they express the environment through them, through their clothing. And that's why we have to change our clothes. They have to be more cultural. That way we can start speaking. I shouldn't have to open my mouth for you to know who I am. I brought me a beautiful garment too, an African garment. It just got messed up and all that, so I couldn't wear it. So I was going to be fly on here today. I was going to be real fly. Straight up. So my step might not be, I was going to be out, you know what I'm saying? So it might not be as cool today because I ain't got my African garment on. And showing you that clothes is psychological. Have you ever put on a button down or a suit and you just felt like money? Showing you that everything about you is spiritual and psychological.
I really like what you're saying. I thought I'd just jump in a quick sec just to reiterate what he's saying. And what he's basically saying is this, right? Just to the part of the clothes I'm going to talk about. What you wear, that's why it's so important to be culturally connected what you wear does influence your behavior. So we living in the West, we wear Western clothes. We have adopted all the Western idiom, the ideology, which is really degenerative to our thinking and degenerative to the way we culturally brought up. But if you dress in the ways of like, I used to have a premises. Me and a young lady we used to have a premises. May Allah bless this young lady who's got my son. We used to have a premises, and we used to do African arts and crafts, arts and culture. And where we used to dress up in traditional African garments, I used to have Nigerian garments and different stuff. I used to get stuff made in that. And I'm telling you straight, it changed me a lot. Yeah, I mean, I felt so different. And even like my dad, may he rest in heaven, I gave him a suit as a present. And I didn't even know this, you know, because I've seen him wear it once. But I heard he was in St. Lucia, you know, walking around in his suit like, you know, natural, you know, and really showing off when he was in his suit. So I said, look at this, you know, it's just like, it really does make a difference. So I'm just actually just verifying what he's saying. And it's also to put into our minds that as we're making this move to claiming back our identity and our culture, we do need to associate ourselves with some form of culture. You know, whether it be maroon for those that's from Jamaica and the traditional dress, or whether it be an African culture or Moorish culture. You know, I don't know how these, you know, I've seen some of the Moors dress. I still think there's a Western slant to it. I think what we got to do is look at the ancient. That's my humble opinion. Is look at our ancient African brothers and sisters and how they've, you know, a culture that's not really been broken, how they keep their culture and the garments that they wear, which I find so fascinating in different parts. So yeah, just to say, clothes actually helps change your mood and puts you in the mood. Do you understand me? Because a lot of people even do it in acting. When they want to act in a particular time and era, they get everybody dressing up in that era and trying to behave like they was in that era. So yeah, it's important for us because that's our spiritual heritage. This is part of our black privileges. We have that option. We can wear any of these cultures' clothes and be at home in them because it is part of our heritage. So yeah, I thought I'd just drop that little piece in, as I always do. Sorry about that.
Mind is what creates matter. The reason why you exist is because you, consciousness, you, mind, wanted to experience creation, so you created a body to do so. That's all we're doing. All right, let's keep on. Next slide. All right, now this shows you the hair follicle anatomy. And what I just wanted to show y'all is this right here. Y'all see the blood, the nerves, and y'all see that the nervous system is actually connected to the hair follicle. And then the hair comes out the epidermal layer of the skin and scan the environment. So I know this is going to hurt you, ladies. But what about y'all shaving? Shaving your legs, shaving your cooter mama, shaving everything, shaving your armpits. I even see some of y'all pick the hair out of y'all noses. Y'all ain't scanning nothing. Like, straight up. I'm just saying. If the Most High intended on y'all to shave all of y'all hair off y'all body parts, y'all would have been born with razor fingernails and y'all can just do this. For real, I mean, like when you start looking at creation and you start looking into nature to teach you, everything that you need, you was born with. You see that? Just like a hyena was born with canines to rip the meat off the bones. It was born with claws to rip the meat off, then the flesh off the bones. You weren't born with claws, you were born with fingernails. You were born with fingers to peel back fruits, to peel orange, to peel a banana. See that? You was born with regular teeth, but you can grind up your vegetables, but you can grind up your food. So based off your physiology, it shows you, and looking into nature, it shows you what you're supposed to be doing with your body parts. So according to body parts and being born with the ligaments and fingers and everything that we got, can you shave your hair off your body with just the things that you came into this earth with? So why in the hell are you shaving all the hair off your body when we finding out how important hair is? You got black men that actually think they don't even want to have sexual engagements if you ain't shaved. I got a 4-year-old baby. I don't want that to look like my 4-year-old baby. See what I'm saying? So we're even being taught how to look at sexuality. We're even being taught how to look at somebody and be attractive to them. You see a woman with hair on her legs, she manly. She too masculine. Why? Because she's going through her natural evolutionary process. See what I'm saying? So we got to really start redefining what health is. And health is nature. Nature is life, true classroom. Next slide. All right, sensory receptors in the skin. See that? And the one I want to talk about today, because this is off another one, I want to talk about the Merkle disc. The Merkle disc is some of the most powerful senses in your skin. And these are all receivers, or what we call sensory receptors. Notice all the ones you got. Y'all can write these down, but I want to focus on this one for the time of this lecture. So write that down, Merkel's disc. This stuff really exists. Your skin is straight scanning the environment, and it's downloading information from its environment, and you acting it out. And you acting it out through the Merkel's disc. Let me know once y'all got that down, we'll switch to the next slide. You going what? Either one, no matter, son, I'm thirsty. Let me know once y'all done. Ain't that crazy though? You straight like you are a walking television. Y'all got that? Merkel's disc. Now I'm finna explain it in the next slide. I just need y'all to write it down. All right, so the Merkel's disc is actually a receptor that is in your skin, and a hair follicle sits on top of it. The hair scans the environment and gets the impression, whether it's temperature, or they call it a thermoreceptor, whether it's pressure from the environment, whether it's a fight or flight from the environment. It actually reads that code, it goes through an amino acid process, and then it tells the brain whether to grow in the environment, or it tells the brain whether to actually protect itself. So it's only two options that the cell is going to do once the skin actually scanned the environment. It's either going to go through cellular reproduction or cellular growth or cellular protection. It cannot do them both. All right? Now, have you ever heard of fight or flight? That's what you call cellular protection. Can you grow while being in fight or flight? If you was running after a tiger or a lion or bear, is you worried about reproducing? Is you worried about how your clothes look? Is you worried about scoring an A on the test or not? Is you worried about growing? Is you worried about pituitary functioning? Hell no, you're trying to get away from the lion and tiger and bear. You in a state of fight or flight. So guess what your body's gonna do? It's gonna produce something called cortisol. Cortisol is produced.
Out of snacks? Get Doritos in minutes.
Sorry about that. That was it. Short and sweet. Just to give you the gist of what the picture I'm painting, which is basically your privileges, which is your hair. I mean, he's actually gone into the stuff we talked about. The stuff I put on one of the shows about melanin and how it interacts with the body, and about the eumelanin and the neuromelanin, and how all of the hair are basically receptors of this same euromelanin, which is basically like nerves. You know, your hair is almost like a nerve. And you know, as I don't know if I actually said it in the show, but the European modeling, some of their stuff they've made in engineering, like transformers, and that is based on that same principle, where the copper wire that goes around the energy of the transformer itself is just basically just like formatted like Nubian people's hair, like melanated people's hair. So you know, we've got a lot going on that we don't seem to understand. And as he's saying about scanning, is that we're like radio stations. We're like walking radio stations that can tune into any frequency, because we've got a cosmic origination. Now, what I'm telling you is dead serious. So you know, for people that's thinking, oh, this guy's going mad, no, look at me carefully. This is dead serious. It's up to you all to take it seriously, you know, because I can only just pass on the message and that's it. We are in a very privileged position to have these energies and powers and to be configured the way we are configured, which is why it's a sin and a crime to relax your hair, to even for the sisters to cover their head, because all they're just doing is covering their ability to pick up signals. And also what it does, what they don't really realize, is that when they put that false thing on top of their head, there's a bad blessing that the energy of the hands that put it together, and you don't know, because I saw a video where they were putting bad spells on some of the hair that they were selling to the black community. I saw some vids on this. I'm gonna see if I can bring it up. When I get the visuals moving, I'll play that for you so you can see this. You know, it's just like, it's a very, very deep thing, your hair. Your hair is your personal. And for anybody that's got alopecia out there, I send my respects, because I know that when you do have to cover your head, it's for a genuine reason. And for those that don't cover their hair, you know, may Allah bless you still. Yeah, I mean, because you know, it's a brave move as well. Yeah, but the situation at hand is this: is that once you cover the blessings, that it's like me with my hat, and a lot of us have got hats on and stuff like that. That covers a lot of our blessings, you know what I mean? That's something that these guys have introduced us to. This is not the ways of the melanated being. We're really in our natural state and form. We're meant to have locks, meant to be bearded out, meant to be having that hair movement going, like, you know. I even heard from one Ras, you know, and I wasn't there to see this, but this is a story that was relayed to me by one Ras who I respect. And he told me he met one Ras, an elderly Ras, who was high up in the ranks of Rastafari, and he was a very powerful spiritual one. And he said this brother could actually make his hair come off. He can actually move his hair. He said that he's seen this man's hair go and pick up a cup and bring it to him, just like they show you in Marvel with Medusa and that. And I'm like, wow. He goes, yeah, these things are real. He goes, when you get to certain powers. So I said, you know, from that, I was told, this is probably over nearly 40-year-old story. This, I heard these things. I always wanted to know more about this phenomena, and now I understand it's a natural phenomenon that we actually don't appreciate and we don't know. So when you're putting things in your hair, on your skin, that's not really suited to your skin or suited to your hair, you're actually cutting off your powers. And it's really important that we really get this, you know what I mean? Because that's just like our heritage, and we can't mess about with that heritage, because that heritage is very, very powerful. And as I said, you know, it's every book. We've got no excuse, because Christians read the holy book that tells you at the beginning when he made man, and everyone's got a beginning when he made man. And when your beginning when he made man is our ancestors, you know, with a kit that they was given, which is a physical kit, you know. They were basically God in the flesh, you know. And he left us in this position because knowing that we could fend, you know, and do great things. So when I did the shows about Tartaria, I was trying to introduce you to the feats that we accomplished on a physical realm with buildings. If you look at all the old Tartarian buildings, you'll see they're all built a certain way. This was throughout the whole world. This is our ancestors moving because they had knowledge of the stars and the moon and the movements of the cosmos, which made them be able to move with the cosmos in them and make buildings that represented that. That's why a lot of these buildings were actually aligned with star systems, you know. And this is not coincidence, you know what I mean? This is, you know, there's a deeper story to this, which I'll get into probably at some stage as we move along. But for now, this is just how we moved. We moved with the stars in us. You know, I look at Soul Train, for example. You know, if you want to know about cosmic energy, you know, Soul Train, you know, a very good example where you see the dancers, the way that they move their body, the way that they, the styles of movement and the way they bend the body, male and female, it is nothing short of a miracle. You know, to think of those series of movements in synchronicity, wow. You know, I used to look at them dancing and say, wow, if I could do half of those moves, I'd definitely, you know, that would just be a legacy for me, you know, as I've got 2 left feet, you know. So it's like, you know, it's just to see that, you know, and see the way our people move to rhythm, you know, and create rhythm, you know, because that's all part of the privilege, you know. We are the most musically inclined with sonics and with physical movement. You know, Michael Jackson, when he did the moonwalk, when he did the that backward move on the Smooth Criminal that he showed Chris Rock how to do, you know, it's nothing short of a miracle. You know, even Usain Bolt, when he runs, scientists have made a graph based on him. Yeah, how can a man so tall run with the center of gravity? They looked at it, the way he arches his back, the way he moves forward. They say, wow, it's a miracle they're trying to work. Because normally it's a shorter man's run, the 100 to 200 meters. It's something the shorter guy is supposed to, because according to their theory of center of gravity, he's just within the center of gravity, so he can thrust himself, you know, use his force to thrust through quicker. But Usain Bolt's actually, you know, he's broken that scientific theory. Yeah, I mean, which has got these guys, you know, studying him. Imagine. So, you know, and our privileges, you know, what we're taking for granted, these Europeans ain't. They're taking your DNA and doing all kinds of things with it. They're taking the melanin and they're using it in computer chips. You know, and you've got to ask yourself, you know, where they're getting it from. Yeah. You know, where they're getting that melanin to power these chips. So if that's what's going on, why are we using our melanin? You know, in the way we're supposed to. Why aren't we looking after our hair like we're supposed to? You know, the Rasses has got that bang on pat. You understand me? You know, they got that, and they're receiving that information non-stop. You know, as you can feel for the vibrations of the music. We all have the same capabilities, but we're not digging into it. And it's these things that we need to look at, because then you will understand why Jordan jumps at the height he does. Got scientists again studying all of that. Why certain men do certain things which is deemed literally impossible, and they're doing it. I seen, as I said, levitating. The so-called snake charming trick from India. That was Dravidians that showed them the energies how to do these things, where people levitate. You know, great spiritual shamans do many things. And all of these things, you know, a lot of people say, oh my God, only the shaman can do it. Or, you know, you have to go to a special guy to do it. Yeah, he might have studied it. He's more disciplined in it because he studied it. But it does not mean that you do not have the same capabilities. And, you know, it's something we need to tune into. You know, I'm not telling anyone go out and start buying candles and calling up all these foreign spirits and doing all kinds of nonsense. What I'm saying is that we've got to be in tune with our spirit that we actually got within ourselves, and look at what we do, monitor ourselves. You know, I used to have a girlfriend. She used to sit down and just look at me, and she is for another tribe, Asian young lady, right? And this is in my past. And she sat down and she looked at me. She goes, I noticed that you do things in freeze, like you breathe, your breath is in freeze. You when you blink in freeze. She goes, and I'm like, what? And she was breaking it down to, I didn't even know that. And she goes, why is it in freeze? And I goes, I don't know. You know what I mean? And things like this. You know, we've got powers, and we've got to start using them. Yeah, and we've really got to use them, because it's a gift. And when you've been given a gift, if you do not use it, it will be like almost like the parable of Jesus Christ and the talents. And if you listen to the word talents, and that parable was basically saying that this master gave 10 servants, or how much servants it was, the talents, which was a currency, gave them talents, each a talent, and they was meant to go and do something with it. Like, you know, one took it and invested it and lost it. One took it and I think invested it and made something. And everybody did something, but one of them, he took it and hid it underneath a rock, because he said, you know, in his mind, that if I don't do nothing with it, you know, I ain't lost it. You understand me? I've got it the same, and when I give it back, it will, you know, the master will be happy. So when he went and graded everybody, he thought, especially when he knew about the one that lost it, he thought he was in a good position. When the master dealt with him, he was the one that got chastised the worst, because, you know, he said, you did nothing with your talent. You didn't even speculate with it. And that is a powerful, you know, for those that say, oh, no, Bible, listen, I don't want to, as long as the thing makes sense, it makes sense. I don't care how it got there, Yeah, that's sensible. Because what he's saying to you is, and he used the word called talent, that's not a coincidence. You know, and people's got to look at these things. So all of these religious saying, oh, the Bible is this and this. Listen, I ain't no Bible lover to say Bible, but I pick sense from nonsense. And if it makes sense, it can't do anything else. So they got to think about, why was it called a talent? And why was it, like, you know, about using your talent? You see? So that's what we're not doing. And this is why I dropped it on you like that, to make you realize, you know, we're not using our talents. You know, we're not using what we've been given as talents. You know what I mean? We think that a lot of us have been stimulated to use our talents to capitalize off it and monetize it fair. That's cool, because that's you know, you deserve that. But that wasn't the reason why we were given these talents. These talents is for the benefit of us, ourselves, to see who we are, and to praise the Most High in spirit and in truth, and also to link with others like us, so we can actually, you know, share these talents with each other and do things that's going to benefit everybody. Which is why when we came on earth as in the form of our ancestors, we put up buildings to help each other. All the buildings, the Tartarian buildings, they've been finding out have got certain powers within the buildings, where you can go in the buildings and be healed. They even looked at the way the structures was configured, and even like a hallway with an arch. It's been now shown that scientifically that the arch, it actually contains frequencies that are held within it, and if you project certain frequencies, it resonates them. You see? So this will go down to even the music and the sort of music that we listen to. even the hertz that they use in music is damning to our physics of our body, and we're not supposed to have certain frequencies passing through us, even like, without being rude, rock and stuff like this. A lot of the stuff is distortion. So we're in tune with the universe. So anything that comes out of us is going to be harmonious and in tune with the universe, you know. So yeah, I thought I'd just give you all of this to share this with you. I'm gonna get to Delbert Blair and his little piece on melanin, but I'm gonna play a track which I think will come in kinda, I think I've played it already, but I'm gonna play it again. And I like it. Yeah, I mean, it's from a brother. I can't remember his name, but I remember the brother that he's doing this track with. He has a channel called not Ancient Discoveries, Black Magic. I'll get it for you. He's a very progressive brother. All the stuff on his channel, I would advise people just to jump on it and get to listen to what's good, because this guy, I can't remember, Brother Rich, that's his name. He's got a channel, and his channel is off the hook. He covers our culture deliciously, and nearly everybody he brings on there has got something so powerful to import and impart and give to us. And it's all done from love, you know. It's not done to show off or to for ego and to say, oh yeah, I know and I know. No, it's sharing. It's just because we want to see better for each other. Just like I do what I do. Yeah, I ain't getting paid for this. I'm doing this from the love. I'm not doing this for anything more than to get my people all risen up. Even though I'll soon be coming with some commercial things and doing certain things to make money, this is what stimulates me. What stimulates me is the fact that I'm getting a chance to impart things that I've always known and I've actually benefited from. And I want you all to feel that feeling, because if you could look at me with my pale ass, excuse my language, my pale skin, and I'm telling you this, then you darkly melanated beings, what are you got there? You're sitting on a gold mine, literally. And also, things you need to know, we're naturally bioluminescent, meaning that we have the ability to shine in the dark. A lot of people don't know this, you see. And also, we have a gold. We are the only species that can grow, that gold is inside of our body naturally. You know, things like this is so important to understand. And we take it for granted, yeah, the what we've got, you know. And I'm going to tell you this because it hurts me when I see great people, especially when my darkly melanated people, begging and doing stuff that they don't need to do, because they're in tune with the universe. They just need to have what they call self-belief and know about themselves. Because if you do not understand the original ancestors that were here, this is what the original plan was. The map was for man to know thyself, meaning you must know your melanin, you must know how much breaths you take and do, you must know how to breathe in, breathe out, you must know how to access the spirit world, you must know all it is. Something you it's your heritage. You know what I mean? Because then you will know how to manipulate your power and to do God's will. Now that's why, like, if you look at all the prophets that they talked about in the Bible and the Quran and everything, all of these guys came already equipped, knowing what to do. And I was even shown by other writers that these prophets had supernatural powers naturally that was given to them, because they was in tune with what they had to do. And it's like James Bond going out to go on one of his adventures, and then Q's giving him all the gadgets and the stuff he needs to go and do the adventure and do the mission. So you know, we're no different. You understand me? And these things is like, we, again, as I said, you know, I'm gonna keep banging on it, that we really do need to get in tune with this. We must make it our duty to understand who we are, what we do, why we feel the way we feel, why we speak the way we speak, why we do the things we do, what is our aspirations, how do we intend to reach our aspirations, you know, do we, you know, understand and appreciate, you know, the body that we've been given, that beautiful hair that we've got, that beautiful big nose, broad lips, thin broads, whatever. You understand me? But especially those with the thick lips and the broad nose, and people used to ridicule. No, you got that. You're nearest, clearest, nearest to the ancestors. You know, dark melanin skin. Oh my lord, you can interact with the furthest realms of space because you're in tune, but you just don't understand it. So on that note, the Brother Rich's channel, I've just found it. It's called Black Magic 363. For those that's looking for the extra knowledge, for the what we call the higher shelf stuff, higher learning, you go to Brother Rich. He's been doing this very long. I've been following him for a while still, and he's had some very interesting guests. And any of his shows you can pull out and pick, none of them is a waste of time, and they're usually long as well, which is like you're getting value for your money. So I'm really appreciative of this brother, and I'm hoping one day to meet him, because I think we might even be family. He's got the same kind of nose as me, man. I was like, wow. Yeah, just I thought that nose there. But funny enough, that same nose I got, I've seen it on a Ethiopian, one of the pharaohs from Ethiopia. And according to what they said, that nose that we got there like this is actually a symbol of one of the royalties. So I don't know how true that is, but I've seen an actual carving, an Egyptian carving of one high priest or something like this that had the same exact nose. So I'm like, wow. So at least there's science, I got science there that, I'm kind of happy. Anything that brings me closer to my ancestors, I'm very happy with. So yeah, I'm gonna play this tune called Black Magic. It's called Black Magic. No, it's called Shaka Zulu. Sorry, I played it once. I'm playing it again. And Black Magic is on it. The same Brother Rich. He goes by the moniker of Black Magic, and the rapper's name's Kambata. Very, very solid musician. So I'm gonna play that track, and yeah, we get into Brother Kambata, Shaka Zulu with Brother Rich on it.
Young brother from the cutter, always been a fighter, never been a runner. Mama was a hunter, daddy was a hunter, all my brothers hunt each other. Known to knuckle up and uppercut a slugger, punch a snuffer, stun a thugger, gonna stutter, blood a sputter. You gon' do the Brooklyn, pucker, kinda drummer. Father thought I was a parasite in mama belly, but he had it wrong. He ain't know he had a spawn of a warlord till in 9 months I was born. Big, black, strong, body of LeBron. I'm a big king, killing all the pawn. Better be informed when I blow the horn, bringing in the dust, waking up the dawn, looking at the card. Prophesized by the shaman voodoo. Seen it all through the eye of Horus that I watch and view through. There was other warriors before me, but they not this brutal. All this money, but I'm not Mabutu. You don't know me, you forgot, now you do. Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu. My name is Shaka Zulu. I'm at the top of Kufu. I got the power, who knew? Why would a god salute you? They call me Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu. My name is Shaka Zulu. I'm at the top of Kufu. I got the power, who knew? Why would a god salute you? God. I'm a lion when he growl. I'm a tiger on the prowl. Call a firefighter, I got fire in my bowels. Fill a rifle with the round. Banana clip ready, it's always ripest when it's brown. Put a titan in the crown, put a diamond in the crown. Wear the title, I'm endowed. I recite it and I'm proud. Shaka Zulu. Hot fire, gonna barbecue you. Something happened to my mom, I'm cuckoo. Block, 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 a boom, boom. Don't need a Glock to shoot you. If you black enough, the cops will shoot you. You Apollo, they gon' rock it to you. You a Judah, they gon' Costa sue you. You cannot box my wushu. Beat a wigger out in socks and boo-boo. If you weak, then I cannot recruit you. All I see is men in bras and tutus. Do a park and juice. You bring the text and I'ma chop and screw you. Split her out of my atomic nuke you. Turn another cut to Honolulu. Don't let a thought seduce you. Every king need a conscious nunu. Queen that never bring the drama to you. Brown skin like a chocolate you. I am not the usual. Wake the sun up like I'm rock-a-doodoo. Wanna see me, gotta drop your moon rule. Good and evil got a common neutral. They call me Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Zulu. My name is Shaka Zulu. I'm at the top of Kufu. I got the power, who knew? Why would a god salute you? They call me Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu. My name is Shaka Zulu. I'm at the top of Kufu. I got the power, who knew? Why would a god salute you?
Yes. Only on Bless Radio 1 FM we do these things. Knowledge reigns supreme. Knowledge kicks our ignorance right out the ballpark, so we ain't got time for that. I can only tell you things that I know for sure. I ain't here to mislead, lie, or create any special movement. I'm only here to relay a message that is very important, and you must know about your privileges. Tune into them. Say it to yourself, I deserve to live in a better place. I deserve to be in a better position. I deserve to be wealthy. I deserve to be loved. I deserve all the great things the universe can offer me, because it is within my realm to have, to enjoy, to, it's nothing impossible, and we must get rid of that word impossible, because it is daunting to you that when something looks so humongously big and overwhelming, that how are you going to deal with it? If you just check yourself and look into your spirit, and if you look at our history of our ancestors, the hardest struggles we've had it's brought out the best in us. Great civilizations has come from us. Great things have been birthed from us. Great new inventions has come. We're living in the golden era right now of our people, where in Africa all the children are making inventions, brand new stuff that's changing science. I told you about the brother from Kenya, and I hope they ain't killed him, that made the TV that works wirelessly, that no European ever thought of. From Dr. Gabriel Aibo, that's brought the unifying field theorem, brought that to life. The thing that Einstein was chasing and all these Europeans were chasing, it had to come from a Nigerian. We have got so much powers that, people might take this for granted. I want you to tap in and know that why a lot of our people that come from Africa or come from an indigenous country outside of here come still with that energy left in them, before it's eroded with the nonsense that goes on here. We're embracing an ideology and something that is not healthy for us. All right, we've had to use it to get along, but it doesn't mean that's what defines us. It's just like learning another language. If I learn Chinese, it does not make me Chinese, but it makes me able to converse with somebody from China. So we've got to be able to understand these things and grab culture wherever we can find it. And when they say grab culture, grab your culture. You understand me? Because long time ago I used to laugh at Wu-Tang, much as I loved them. I mean, I used to say, Wu-Tang, the men are the idiot. I mean, they're coming up with some Chinese man thing. You understand me? And when I've done, check myself properly, I said, nah, Papa, they're right, because, China, we made China. Chinese art forms and everything comes from melanated beings. The concept of Kung Fu, the concept of spirituality, even the word Chi is a Nigerian. So you can literally trace where they got all their stuff from, and I would definitely say Nigeria. And I'll definitely say probably the founding tribes of the Chinese would be a mixture of Khoisan and Nigerian. You understand me? Something like this. You know what I mean? Because Khoisan, if you look at the phenotype or the physicalities of the Khoisan or the physiology of the Khoisan, you'll see that they have got the attributes of what makes up Asiatic Chinese people. So I thought I'd throw all of this in together. I'm going to play High Priest Zamlek because he emphasizes this. I really wanted to go into a brother called Simeon Toko. I think I'll save that for next week, because I'm going to show you what the power of privilege, where the power of those who deny that there was a Jesus and stuff like this, or deny there was any form of prophets and say it's all man-made and all this nonsense. I'm going to play a video, very, very important. I'm hoping I might get my visuals sorted out, but it don't matter, because even the audio on the story is good. Is it? And a brother called Simeon Toko, which I'm going to go into, he's they tried to kill him, and it's actually a recorded factual history. A black brother from Congo, deeply melanated, and they killed him many times, and all he ever did was come back to life in front of them, literally. So this is documented. So it's not even like a fanciful story. And even in Ghana, we have one from a brother called Omfukunoshi. Omfukunoshi was basically like a messiah in Ghana that came down, and I heard that's where they got the concept of King George and the Round Table and the sword in the stone and that, because in Ghana the sword that he put in the stone is still there. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's a powerful story because he was the brother that brought down the golden stool from heaven, you know, and that's supposed to be verified by many people, and he was supernatural in his movements, and all he ever wanted was a united Ghana where everybody get together. Don't let anybody from outside come in and rule, and you know the usual things we want for the unity of our people. But you know, that's politics along the line. They didn't adhere to that ideology, and a lot of the Ashantis, who I'll definitely name the Ashantis, are not keeping in line with the dream and the aspirations of Omfukunochi. You understand me? And the reason why he put the sword down inside the stone. So we've got all of these things happening, and we've got many millions of stories in Africa that will take you to the realm of supernatural. And you know, it'll be good one day, instead of all these African brothers in Nollywood and Ghana and that trying to do like the West and copy them and write storylines like them, we should tap into our historical stuff. Even some of the British guys, I mean, it would be beautiful, you know, to just take one of our stories and put it into a form where people can see it visually and see what was going on, because it is powerful. Just like the Shaka Zulu movie was powerful. Just making the movie, and it was made by Westerners, but even because it's so powerful, excuse me, it was so powerful, the music and the singing and everything, you could feel it. But you know, when we start taking control of our narrative and producing our stories, it will be even more powerful. And I think it will change the planet dramatically, because once people get into the picture and feel it, they're gonna actually be it. And this is what these people are scared of. These elites are scared of. They're scared we're gonna take back our energy and power, because that's the whole point. They built up CERN, whether people want to hear this or not. They're trying to get access to dark matter, trying to manipulate dark matter, dark energy, and in the process they're messing things up. So yeah, these are things you need to know. But anyway, let's get into High Priest Zamlek, because High Priest Zamlek, he started off, I gave you like a quick snippet of him last week so you can understand that this is the kind of direction we're going. And I love High Priest Zamlek. You know what I mean? I think he's you know, I don't agree with every single thing he says, as I never really agree with everything everybody says, but the majority of what he's speaking, I'm feeling him, yeah, and I like, you know, he's giving you the perspective of Bantu or Bantuism from the South Africa, you know, and as I said, you know, these guys, you know, I'm actually going to play where I left off, so let's get straight into High Priest Zamlek.
Understand that symbiology, it forms a language, because there's neuro-linguistic language, the language that is spoken through your neural nervous system through signs and symbols. That is called NLP in psychology.
How does that relate to what Koko Credo Muta spoke about? Ukuthi apparently, this is me saying apparently, he didn't say apparently. He said it was actually a fact that they used to communicate telepathically. I was searching for the word.
That telepathically communication, it happens through neuro-linguistic language, through signs and symbols. By understanding the signs and symbols, and that system can have tools that you're using, similar to computers in these cases. But in our case as human beings, our computer will be the both cerebrum and the medulla oblongata, where it stores each and everything that we observe. So that communication, you understanding your own brain, it will give you a clarity of having higher forms of communication like clairvoyance, telepathy, all psychic communication per se.
The question before this, so are you recommending that when we pray, we should pray in our own indigenous vernacular or mother tongue?
When you pray, you need to pray in a language that you understand. Symbiology will be the best.
What is symbiology?
That is why a priest carry an incense, to burn an incense, saying that they communicate with spirit. That is why a priest will have a cross. That is why a priest will have signs of way, raising hands, and all those kind of things. Those are symbiology. That is neuro-linguistic language. Properly God understand, because it doesn't.
Sorry for interrupting that. Yeah, that what he's dropping there is basically ritualism. So he's basically saying, like he called it symbology, which is what rituals are, and the rituals is the symbolizing of the steps we take to use the science, the symbols that the steps we take, or the methodology of using the spiritual science. So everything we're doing is in line with that. And when he said about the incense and stuff like this is what these guys have been trying to do, and in the churches and doing it, but they're doing it to call the evil spirits instead of they do it to celebrate the good spirits. So yeah, this is very important. Rituals, having rituals, there's nothing wrong with it. It's always for the intention, what you're intending to do with those rituals. You know, even Muslims, the rituals of Islam, you know, in mainstream Islam and Sunni Islam and whatever they want to call it, Islam, that the majority of Muslims agree on, is ablution. You know, making ablution before prayers. This is a ritual, you know, and it's all powerful stuff because it's all to do with divinity. It's all to do with reaching the higher levels. It's all to do this. And a lot of these Sunni Muslims don't understand this and the symbology of water and everything. You know, they've lost the meaning. But our ancestors who set the precedent for this, who actually instigated all of these things, you know, because soon I'm going to prove to people that Islam, the concept of Islam was well before Muhammad. You know what I mean? So, you know, we need to understand that when anytime you do something with a sign or movement, it's a ritual. Yeah, and these signs are important. So he's talking about how we communicate and how we communicate telepathically and how we communicate using different types of neuro-linguistic language, which we already covered how the mechanics of it work through the hair, and we already covered how the mechanics of it work through the melanin. So he's just really elaborating more about that, and it is a pleasurable pleasure to listen to. So yeah, sorry for interrupting, but I'm trying to make things as simplified as possible. So when you're drinking this, you just have to drop 2 ice inside of this juice I'm giving you there, because when you drink this one, it's sweeten the belly up and sweeten the mind and sweeten the soul. So yeah, let the high priest carry on.
Any category where it belongs.
What I'm hearing is that you should pray in the language that you're most fluent in, number one, so that you don't sound like a child. We hear it when some soccer players are interviewed and they struggle to articulate themselves. I don't know why South Africa was still forcing people that don't have a grasp of a language to answer in those languages. Amapunu, as an example in rugby, sometimes if you ask, how's the game? Nee, ek wil net dankie sê, they go into the language that makes them feel confident. The second thing I'm hearing is the power of symbolism. My mother and I were having a conversation about how we used to use symbols, what today in technology speak we call emojis. And why are we not communicating in that? Because it transcends. The Bua people you're speaking of, you're saying they are of India, and obviously we have Bua here in South Africa. Is there any link?
There's a link, say. There's what we call human migration in evolutional studies, geography. But now that evolutional study is not accurate. In history, it is told that black people have migrated all around. When they landed from the sky, since they are from the stars, their story is ancient. Black people are ancient people. When they land here, they migrated to all the places around planet Earth, civilizing people they encounter who were planeters, who were living here, whom we found here. So that is why you'll find people who have similar language like us in South Africa, but they are far. Same as the Inca dynasty in America. When you see the Inca dynasty, they have the god called Yacatal, also known as Tlatlamashon or Tlutlakan. And we in South Africa, we have Tlatlamashon or Ramuloki. And Ramuloki has a lot of details of talking about the childbirth, the origin of man. That is why they talk about Lowe coming out of the cave, just living. That's our creational story. Then when we talk this creational story, we are explaining our migration, our existence all around the world, how we have influenced civilizations.
You're saying, I think this is the first time I'm hearing this. Almost everyone tends to agree that all human life was born in Africa, on the African continent, and then spread out. So at some point, the confusion was in why are the white people Indians, Chinese? what led to those black people converting into that? Was it the climate? Was it diet, etc.? Now you're telling me, telling us, black people came from the stars onto planet Earth.
Yes, sir.
To a kid, we came as aliens onto this planet, and we already found other people living here.
Yes, sir.
And we have come to influence them, which now speaks to, and I know you guys touched on this in the past, the pyramids that were built by black aliens, which is...
Now, I forgot this part. See, everything comes full circle because every show I have done backs this up. And you know, this is so beautiful for me because it's like to hear somebody else saying it, you lot will hear me and think, this guy, but this is a high priest, this brother's a high priest, he's talking the facts. Because this is the whole point of us being here, is to evolve. We even changed the fauna, the fauna being the animals and the thing and the flora. We change, we evolve everything. And that's what the ancestors was here doing. And the peoples that he's talking about that was already here were not like peoples, they were basically apes and types of apes. Mankind, right? And that's why I said people got to understand the difference between us and mankind. We're actually separated by DNA. And this is something the elites don't want to tell you. Yeah, there's a reason for this, yeah? And that's why you hear me bleating on the way I'm bleating on, is for you to understand you better take in the fact that you got some pedigree DNA, yeah, that should not be diluted as such. And people say, well, you know, what about you? But you don't worry about me, because the San, I've got people in Africa, South Africa, that's my complexion, the San, the Khoisan. So, you know, I could also be coming from that blood. But I doubt it. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, because we have got European blood in the family, somewhere far down. But the moral to the story is that the origination, you know, the ancestors, they came down here to civilize and to bring a spiritual awareness on this planet that would benefit every living creature. You know, when I was trying to tell you guys in one of my shows about the wild man that was here, the European, when he was in the state, one of his states was being called a wild man, similar to what they would call a Sasquatch, a Yeti, or Wendigo, whatever names they like to call it. They were basically like this kind of form. Whether people want to hear this or not, and thinking that I'm just spreading some misinfo, I'll bring the actual facts to back that up, because we've got too many pictures, too many artists' drawings. Even Europeans have drawn it, and even stories I've got from Europeans themselves that have actually shot. Like one guy said he shot one of them, and when he shot one, he ran up to it as a kid, a little boy, and he said when he shot that hairy thing in the forest, he said when he turned it around, he had a big shock because it looked like one of his kids, just hairy. And I said, wow. So people need to understand that, you know, this is the way things was. So when people talk about ancient aliens, these Europeans or these elites try to talk about ancient aliens, they're basically trying to hide the fact that the ancient aliens are us. And I've always told you guys this is us. We're the ancient aliens. They're trying to, rather than attribute the pyramids to our ancestors, they're trying to make out some little spindly alien creature with a little neck and a big head, which physically makes no. Now, if I ever saw one of them creatures there, we're walking around, I would never feel scared. Because I know that if I push that creature on the floor, his big head, he couldn't get up. So, you know, they're putting illogical things in front of us and making it believe the nonsense, as they've done with so many of their ideologies. You know, so we've got to be sensible about this and realize that our ancestors and us, we are the builders of civilization. In the care system, we run that. You understand me? Caring for these people. Even their own people don't want to care for them. You know? So you got to understand in every discipline that we are there controlling. And for those who are hard-headed, even the Moors, some of my Moorish brothers, that are so bang on to this American stuff and just on this, no. When you look at the factual facts, our ancestors direct from the stars through the connection, even with the Igbos that I started to explore last week, you will see that these people are actually in line and in tune with the thing to this day, but we keep ignoring it. The most educated people on this planet are Nigerians. I want you to really let that sink in. You understand? This is serious. Yeah? I have to let you all know this. Yeah, I mean, this is factual facts, and we can't escape the fact this is our heritage, our design by the higher force and by the goddess and the great creator, the great God, the great Chinwe, and the great Allah. Two of the names of our creators. Is we've got to realize is that the design was to do as they do, which is innovate, control, bring evolution, bring new things to enlighten the spirit and to enlighten the mind. This was always the design, you know, and you can't help that because naturally you do this. It's natural to you. That's why naturally Nigerians are smart, you know, and I use them as an example. But I'm talking about, when I talk about Nigerians, I'm talking about all the great people of African descent, and all the great people living in America, and all the great people living, all melanated beings throughout the whole world of any part of land that they come from. You know, the brilliance is naturally encoded in you. So when you hear High Priest Zamlek saying about we are from the stars, you better believe it. Because even the word Amazulu means children of the stars, because that's where he hails from, that tribe. You know? And we have already found out through genes and through the study of E1B1 blood that a lot of the E1B1, which is the Igbo blood, is shared throughout most of Africa with every tribe, literally. And I say every tribe, trust me on that. Then every tribe named tribe has that E1B1. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a powerful thing. We are children of the stars. You know, even in Ethiopia, when you look at the Lalibela church, just look at it. Physically, it's impossible. Carved out of stone. And they didn't carve up, they carved down. So, and when the story was, people went, they just got up in the morning and saw that was made. They reckon some angels made that. And I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't put it past. That's why I have to show you about Simeon Toko when I play that one next week. That will be the crown. That will be the jewel in my crown. And that will actually prove the point that we are from the stars. You know, there's too much other proofs which I'm going to just throw on top of the after. But, you know, you have to get used to this. You know, you sitting at home now might be a great ruler, you know, from the ancestors, coming to impart something important on this planet. The children coming up, they're the future rulers. That's why we can't fill their head up with all the nonsense that these elites are giving our children to take in. It's so important that our children are taught different, fed different, creamed up different, looked after, no sunscreen. Any melanated being using sunscreen, you deserve what you get. Yeah, because that's a nonsense. Yeah, I mean, and, you know, for having that European type of mind, you'll only suffer the fate of the European. Because, you know, it all starts with the mind. So, you know, I'm trying to really enthuse inside of my people's minds the greatness that they have. And all of us sitting down, all of us standing up, all of us working inside of this system, just realize you come from divine lineage. You have to claim it. If you don't claim it, you ain't getting it. You got these non-melanated people trying to claim what we got. There was a girl, oh yeah, quick one on TikTok. She tried to call the ancestors and died. You know, try to make a point. You understand me? Try to use some of that that stuff, that pale magic or whatever the magic they got, and it didn't work out because the ancestors denied their entry. You see, and it's to show you something so important. This is your heritage. You have to claim. Your ancestors are sitting there dying to drop more facts and knowledge on you, trying to give you your spiritual gifts that are sitting there waiting for you. The spirit, you know, the gifts of healing, the gifts of communication, the gifts of seeing things in foresight, the gifts of so many things, and you just there messing about. You know, so I'm just doing my best with what I can do, and trying my best the way I can do to let my people feel this energy. So I shall let High Priest Zamlek carry on. I'm going to try and go back a little tiny bit so you can get that, what he just said there, because this is so important. You know, you'll hear me say it. You hear many other brothers say it, you know, but this is it. Yeah, and this is factual. We are from the stars. Yeah, the stars, the whole of the universe. You know, and when I go back into dark matter, the birthplace of everything, then you will understand. Yeah, then you will understand. But let's get back to High Priest Zamlek.
they have the god called Yakatan, also known as Tlatlamashon or Tlutlakan. And we in South Africa, we have Tlatlamashon or Ramoloka. And Ramoloki has a lot of details of talking about the childbirth, the origin of man. That is why they talk about Lowe coming out of the cave, just living. That's our creational story. Then when we talk this creational story, we are explaining our migration, our existence all around the world, how we have influenced civilizations.
You're saying, I think this is the first time I'm hearing this. Almost everyone tends to agree that all human life was born in Africa, on the African continent, and then spread out. So at some point, the confusion was in why are the white people Indians, Chinese? What led to those black people converting into that? Was it the climate? Was it diet, etc.? Now you're telling me, telling us, black people came from the stars onto planet Earth.
Yes, sir.
To a kid, we came as aliens onto this planet. And we already found other people living here.
Yes, sir.
And we have come to influence them, which now speaks to, and I know you guys touched on this in the past, the pyramids that were built by black aliens, which is us.
Yes, sir.
And we are now interacting with species we found here and even breeding with them.
Yes, sir.
Is that your argument? And does that mean you don't believe in the argument that life originated in Africa and then spread out from there?
No, there's no such a thing like that. Why they say life originated in Africa, it's because the people who have the center of knowledge and the history of mankind and its origin there in Africa, that is us black people, who come from the sky. And when we are from the sky, the planet in one of the sagas Baba Credo Muta talks about, you can get it in Zulu Shaman. In the Zulu Shaman, Baba Credo Muta does explain about the origin of black people, how we came from the sky through the two twins who are from the Sirius star. These two twins, we had a time to live in the Sirius star. When we were invited by the people of Sirius star, when we were living with them, we became forbidden because we did something wrong. We ate one of them. That's our problem always. So we were cast.
Sorry, what's our problem? We
ate one of the amphibian Sirius people. So it is a curse, like eating a fish. You know, that is why somewhere in other communities of black people, it is forbidden. So when we ate that fish, it became a treason. And with that treason, we were forced to be exiled from the Sirius. Since we were exiled from our own planet, where we are from, it's beyond the Sirius, it's in the Spada galaxy. That is where we had wars. There still wars there. The sky wars. So we migrated to this place. And then when we came here through the Sirius elders, two of the twins make sure that they feel pity for us since we are under treason. And then when they feel pity, they took us here to planet Earth. They are called Paku and Maku. You can get that story in Zulu Shaman of Baba Credo Muta. When they came here, another one got married with the sea creatures, meaning the people who are living in the seas. And then this other one saved us from the great threat of the dragon, who was coming for its egg that we used to come here with. That is the spaceship, by the way. And the dragon, it's the military that we are running away from.
Are you saying black people and what people call aliens have got a relationship?
Yes, sir.
Are you saying black people are aliens?
Yes, we are aliens, sir. We are from beyond even this galaxy. We are not from this kind of constellation.
Do you have a sensitivity and a perspective on people that will listen to this and say it sounds like insanity? It sounds like, I don't know if you know Marvel Comics.
Yes, sir.
The Avengers, Spider-Man, Black Panther. This sounds similar. What makes it not a concocted story of an imagination of someone?
Let's get to, who's this elder, the founder of the Marvel?
Stanley.
May peace be with him. When Stanley visited South Africa, he came as a secret tourist. And then he visited the great Honorable Baba Credo Muta. So...
Like David Icke did as well.
Yes, just David Icke made it commercially. So what I'm trying to say is that Hollywood is influenced by our sagas. The Spider-Man saga, it's the same story as who you Enki. You get Enki in Kenya. There's Enki, the great teller of the stories. Even in the Organ Gods, Enki is a great teller of the stories, and he's a spider. Even in the Dogon, you get the spider being called Dada Adana. And then Dada Adana, he's the one that spread his webs, the spider that it shoots, like Spider-Man. The Spider-Man is influenced by African legend, same as Batman.
Boom, boom, boom. So this is what I was saying. Everything we've done and everything we do is these people vampire our energy and copy it, monetize it. As Kanye said, traumatize, monetize. This is what happens. So, you know, it's good because this is an African elder. Now, if I'd have just come along and just said this to you just off my own virtue, I've been laughed at for many a year for these kind of things. But people, you know, I don't give a damn. Even when I went to Ghana, right? Quick story, true story. I couldn't make this up. I made a ritual. I did a ritual down there, right? And that was part of my movement to go down there, was to make a ritual on the land. And when I did this ritual, right, and I did it beside a river, ravine. True stories. Couldn't make any of this up. And I'll go quickly on it. I made 3 prostrations in this thing. I actually done it. I done the ritual, Moorish style, and I done my prostrations, literally the same way we normally pray in a mosque. Whilst every time I made a prostration, right, and this ritual, I did this. It was about 11 o'clock, right, in the night in Ghana. Now in Ghana, right, when you see lightning, you'll see lightning come, but you don't hear it. Like we hear over here, it will just blam, flash. So I was over there, didn't know it was gonna rain, right, doing this ritual, and I was by this, it was like a lovely ravine, like a river, massive river lake, and there was some houses to the side of me, right, but I was on some dry land, on some like sandy kind of earthy land. So I done my rituals, first bow. Would you bet? And I'm not lying. I kid you not. When I got up from the first prostration, lightning struck. And when the lightning struck, I didn't hear it, and I just saw it. The land, which I didn't know, because I was looking at the water at that time, it was pitch black. The land at the back of which, when it lit up, it was like a snapshot from a camera, and I could see land. I could see land as clear as day, clear as daylight. I could see land, rocks, and everything at the back. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Never seen that in my life. Went back down to prayer. Didn't think much of it until the second prostration. When I made the second prostration, again, I kid you not, as I got up, the lightning struck exactly the same time. I've told this story to a couple of my friends, but now I'm going to share this with you guys. So you know that some people say, oh, crazy. I couldn't give a damn. I got to tell you the truth. I can't lie. Same thing. I could see the land clear as day at the back. Exactly the same time I've made the get up from the same as the last one. But with this one, when I was going back down to bow, I could hear ripples in the water. Quite a lot. And I'm like, what the ras? So anyway, excuse my language, I was saying to myself, I was very, very scared. So I'm getting up. Remember, I'm making communion with the higher force. And I'm praying, and I'm actually praying loud. And I'm saying what my wishes were. As I'm getting up, and I kid you not, I saw about 7 entities coming out of the water, just waist height. But I couldn't look at them because I was so scared. So I was doing this prayer kind of hurriedly, and same thing happened. Boom! When I made the prostration, lightning hit the same time. So I could see the back of the light. I could see the back of the land and everything as clear as day. But what I could see also, what I was scared to focus on, were these entities that was in the water, waist height, just standing there. And there was a gap. Probably there was about, I'll say about 6-7 of them, and probably might have been less. And they were standing not far from each other. They were just out of the water, waist height, and they were in the water. And from where I was to where they were was, I would say, about 20 meters, about not even 50 foot. It would be about 30 foot, 40 foot. I could see these guys, literally, or wherever they was. I couldn't see the physicality of their face or anything like that. I just saw it was like a shadow. And I was like, what is that? Soon as I finished the last prostration, I literally ran for my life. And it's sad to say that I was scared. I'm not gonna lie. And I went back when I got back into town because I was kind of far out. Somebody brought me out. They showed me there was a place I could pray at. When I got back into town, I told one of them, the brother who I was staying at, I told him, he was laughing. Everybody was laughing at me. And he said, yeah, he believed in mammy water and all this, that, and the further. And I said, no, I believe in these things. And when he says, this is the reason why I'm saying the story is that there is amphibious beings. And I've got many other stories to go into that. We're going to look into that anyway. You understand me when I get the visuals up? Because that's things we do need to explore, because that's all aspects of our reality. And another thing that we need to understand is that there's an actual statue, I think it's in Belgium or in Portugal or somewhere, where by one of their rivers is a statue of Poseidon. And this statue of Poseidon, the god of the water, is an African. And if you see how the statue looks magnificent. All of these things in the visual will be sharing. So I thought I'd just quickly share that with you, because Zamlik is touching on something that is so damn true, so correct, is that a lot of people will not understand it. And it's only until you understand fully the metaphysics that comes with having melanin, what melanin does, really appreciate what it does, then you'll find none of these things are hard to understand. And that's why, like, these elites hiding our knowledge and facts from us. And even some of our own elites of our own color are hiding these facts because they don't want people to know. So, and that's the next part of this, because, a lot of people, thinking, oh, we're just the downtrodden. Is our own people, our own energies are still fighting against us as well. People better know this. Yeah, I haven't really gone into that because that's just too much to add to the plate. But this is deep. It's deeper than what people think. So it's basically breaking down that anything you see, comic book, TV, movies, concepts, come from us. This is our story. We are the ones writing the story. We are the ones, in fact, at the moment it seems like, giving out information, and these guys are writing the story and inserting themselves in it. They were never in it, and they never will be in it, So, it's something that people need to understand. So, yeah, let me go back to High Priest Zamlik and let him carry on, because this brother is doing a way better job than I could do it. This is a brother that's mixed with Baba Kreda Mutwa, the same Baba that educated David Icke. For those that don't believe, go and get David Icke's 6 hour, or I think he's done a video, an old school video. You can get it probably on DVD. You can get it even online. His interviews with Kreda Mutwa, they span over 6 hours, and he covers quite a lot and tells you a lot. And even in the story of when he said about them being in Sirius and eating the amphibious beings in Sirius, it's a very similar thing that happened in this world as well, because even Baba Kreda Mutwa tells the story of he ate a finger of one of these reptilian beings. Well, they were reptilians there's over here, but he classed as reptilians, and he ate one of their fingers. That's how they said that they got in line with the spiritual powers that that they got. But all that's a nonsense, because even I'm not a high priest, and I could have told Kreda Mutwa ingesting this type of nutrition wasn't wise. And even some of the rituals some of our shamans do, some of them are not really the right way to access the spirit world. A lot of people think erroneously think by ingesting a being, you get all of their energies because of the DNA. And I know why they do it. And for these creatures that do it, they probably do get it. You understand me? But that is not the way an enlightened, melanated God moves. We do not need that. We are beyond that. We have the science to create what we need. And this is important. So let my brother carry on. I'm going to be doing as much as I can on this. I'm going to let Zamlik play for a little bit, and I'll let him play for another half hour, and then I'm going to play a very short a short excerpt from a European woman who's going to leave you guys with something to think about. And yeah, I'll wrap up like that. I was going to play some more music, but right now what he's doing is music to my ears. So let it go.
Influenced by Umulumulu, who used to fly in Devon. They used to see that. It's the same thing. These things are a part of our life. and we exist with them. Some of them are relative friends or relative families. We are cousins with them.
I've heard you say he's a Zulu man. In the past, the previous episode that we've done, something you said earlier, Guti, we are people of the skies. Is there a relationship between us being, as you're saying, originally being people of the skies and the name Amazulu?
Yes, it's the same thing. Most people, I heard that when I say Zulu means the sky traveler or the space traveler, they say, no, Zulu started 200 years ago. I understand. It's a history you were told by the colonists. And you need to know that Amakwa, the Zulus, when Jama became a king of the Zulus, they were even called Zulus by that time. That is why the son of Jama, the children, I mean to say the old ancestors, Zulu and Zwide, why Zulu was called Zulu with that name as an ancestor. It's a name that was called through the ancestors, which means it's a name we carried. That, oh, I may call myself through my ancestors' name. That is Zulu. So Zulu has been existing pre the dynasty of Ilembe, or what we call Ubkhosi Belembe. That is King Shaka Zulu, according to people who use the narrative of Shaka Zulu. But at the end of the day, Zulu is the oldest saga. You may find that most of the population we have as black people, they are Zulus. Why? Because you are a descendant of the sky dwellers. Everybody, even in Kenya, they talk about their ancestors coming from the sky. When we go to Egypt, they talk about the gods landing, coming from the sky, landing in the reeds. And when they came out of the reeds, they came out with teachings, same teachings we get here in South Africa about the gods in Freedom Park. Same teachings we will get when we go outside Africa. When people acclaim, like the Shinto in Japan, acclaims that it came with the gods from the sky. Like the Celtic Stone Age, they claim that a comb star, meaning it was from Africa. It came as a power of Africa. And the center pillar of the stone, it is still written, the tag of that this came with Africans.
Celtic is Irish.
The Irish stones, or what we call Britishian stones. I don't know what they call them. The stones there in Britain. They have a name for them.
Not Stonehenge.
Stonehenge. Okay. Yes, the Stonehenge. It's called like that. It's from Africa. You must ask the Irish. The Celtic would do rituals there. That is why they say it's a calendar system, same as the Inzalolanga Stone Age, the megalithic stones you found in Inzalolanga. Same stones you'll find in Keberkel in Iran. They have the same significance and same teaching that talks about people who are from the sky and coming to civilize us.
There's a couple of questions I have to ask, and I don't think I'm going to get through all of them. You say black people they committed treason, they were banished, and then the twins brought them here
Yes,
as a cursed people.
Yes, sir.
But they came with knowledge coming from another galaxy.
Thank you, sir.
Why has it been that it's been easy for the dwellers of this planet, who I'd like to think are inferior beings, to still be able to colonize and oppress us as a black people that come as a higher intelligence?
Okay. How you black people were colonized, it's not how you were taught. Stories of colonization. You were colonized because now white people have reached the climax of understanding, meaning knowledge system. And then the knowledge they have reached, they've discovered that you are not violent anymore since you are from treason. You have chosen to be in peace with everything. And now they've taken advantage of your peace.
Jeez, that makes a lot of sense. When you spoke about the animal, sorry, Sbusis.
Okay.
When you spoke about the animal, that we ate an animal we were not supposed to eat,
Yes, sir.
how does that link to how we live now? Is there a chance that
it's
even
not
on
a
Earth,
it's not an animal. It's
it wasn't an animal?
It's a human being. It's just
Oh.
we, in our view, will say it's an animal.
Oh, okay. So there's no link between that, because you mentioned something about certain spaces where they still don't eat certain fish, as an example.
Yes.
Is there certain foods? Are there certain foods we're not meant to be eating?
Yeah, there's food that is forbidden to eat. Like whales are living human beings. They are children of Park who got married with the queen of the seas.
The whale.
Yes.
Which other foods and animals are we not meant to be
Like the
eating?
I want to know about why do other races have got what other people would call stronger melanin than the other, and other people would call melanin from black people carbon?
Yes, we have carbon because we are carbonated people who pass through next to the sun. Let's explain this. If I have a spaceship that is going to pass next to the sun, whatever protection we have as a spaceship that we are internally protected from neutralized gas or CO2 gases, we are safe. But at the end of the day, we are not safe from the rays of the sun. The heat will penetrate whatever protection. It still penetrates even in here. You can protect yourself in a cave, but you can feel the heat under the basement of your cave, that the sun is hot. So the heat can penetrate even into higher protected layer densities. So we passed through the sun, next to the sun, by coming with Mpako. Remember the legend.
Now, to back up what he's saying, there's a brother called Norman Begren. I think I played the excerpt of him explaining to a woman called Linda Moulton Howe about how he has seen extraterrestrials. Yeah. When he was working for NASA. This is a scientist that died, and he worked for NASA freelance. He was studying, and this wasn't part of his work for NASA. This is what he was doing off his own back. He was watching the solar system, and he noticed that in Uranus and I think it was Uranus and Saturn, that there was rings that was on Saturn that wasn't there before. And he noticed that when he was checking it, that every time he was checking Uranus was getting rings, Saturn was losing rings, and vice versa. And when he did his research and studies, and he took certain pictures, he noticed that there was a craft flying in between the rings. So he decided to follow this craft and the movement that this craft was going on, and it led him to the sun, which is why I have to stop it here at this point and tell you this verifies the story that this gentleman is saying. Now, what the high priest has said about our ancestors flying, using craft to fly near the sun, and this is how they became more deep, more that the melanin was more rich, more darker, because they was absorbing a lot of heat. Now, this falls in exactly in line with his Norman Begren, which I'll see if I can find the excerpt to play in a minute. And he actually explains the same thing, because he says basically when he did his research, this is Norman Begren, his research, Norman Begren's a white guy, by the way, and just to let you know, and Linda Moulton Howe's a white woman. And they were both discussing this between each other. And she, like all of these guys, when they start talking about extraterrestrials, the first thing they like to ask is, oh my God, did you see one? What did it look like? And all this stuff. So basically, he was telling her, long story short, that he saw what he believed were the people that was flying these crafts near the sun. And he said that he saw them in the NASA base, or saw pictures of them in the NASA base. And she was saying, and I think he actually saw one live, dropping a craft off at NASA. That he didn't call it a craft. You see, this is how I know there's some truth to this. He was calling it, because when they talk about their extraterrestrials, they had these big crafts, and these crafts would advance, and now they know it's us. All of a sudden, he changed it to a vehicle. He called it a vehicle. I couldn't believe it when I heard it. Yes, I saw a couple of them coming at the vehicle, and she said, oh, you saw them? He goes, yes, I did. And she said, what did they look like? And he muttered, black. Oh, they were black. Oh, they were black. And she goes, what? And he goes, yeah, they were black. And she goes, what, African American black? He goes, no. They were jet black. I said, wow. So this goes exactly in line. So for those who don't believe me, just type in Norman Begren, Black Extraterrestrials. You can get the interview. I will try and fish it out for you guys before I'll try. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's on there. And I don't know if I even played it in one of the shows, which I should have done, because I think I've got it saved. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's an important thing to remember. This I'm correlating everything that relates to each other, so you can understand that it is not just conjecture. Yeah, a brother said something, I've said something, it's the same thing, and we've got so much proof now to verify that what he's talking about is prevalent in Africa. it's things because we're not in tune with what they speak of in Africa. People just think we just over there speaking a nonsense. Now, a lot of our brothers out there are very enlightened, and they talk about very deep spiritual things that we could benefit and learn from, especially the Igbos. But yeah, this brother High Priest Zamlik, I love his style, and I love how matter of factly he just puts this down. So yeah, I'm gonna go back on him, let you understand this, because this is how things run.
There's legends of us traveling the stars. The stars passing through the sun. Here in planet Earth, it's our only star. Here in the Milky Way galaxy, the only star we have, it's the sun. Apparently, in our universe, there's no many stars. So we pass through these stars. We're going to absorb a lot of melatotissues. That is why it's called melanin in Greece. It means, it traces from the language mele, meaning heat. That's a Greek word, meaning heat. And it means fire, melancholy. That is why we use the word melancholy when it's under fire. Hence why Shakespeare, in his words, he used such a word as mele to identify dark skin. Same as moro or moose or mu in Spanish or in Latin. That's where we get the name the Moors, Saint Maurice.
Why is it that other people have got stronger melanin than the other?
It's because we pass through the sun, next to the sun. That is why it's genetically inherited. You inherited from your fathers, grandfathers, who came here from the stars.
And then others didn't.
They are not from the stars, sir.
They're from here.
Yes.
What happens when a melanated person, a black person that came from the sky and the stars, breeds with the descendants of pigs, as an example?
There's nothing wrong. You continually create human beings, but the genetics will be superior because it's from the melanated people. That is why there's interbreeding, miscegenization that happened in slavery, what we call picnic, pick and nigger. It happens through interbreeding, that the genes of the white people may be strong. Hence why the royal house, with may peace be on the queen, the royal house contain the genes of black people. That's their secret.
You spoke about
Sorry, say that again.
The royal house in Britain contain black genes.
Is it?
I've
Yes.
heard those stories. The Moors, is there a link there?
The Maurice story is to misdirect you because
Okay.
it's all about Saint Maurice. There's a guy called Saint Maurice. There's a church and there's celebration in Europe for that. He was a black man. That's why they are called Moors. They are children of Saint Maurice. But now there's a royal symbiology of how royalty were built itself. They had to breed with black people in order to have what we call strong genes.
So the British royal family essentially has got melanated blood in them, and you're arguing, or from what you've said, you're arguing because they have melanin and they come from outside the galaxy. They merged with the people that you said reached the highest level of knowledge, which
Yes.
included violence, which we didn't have anymore. And that breeding of the black melanin and
In
these
the-
people,
yes,
these
sir.
white people, what we call white Europeans, that creates a higher type of human being. Is that
It
the argument?
creates a different species.
Not a
that-
higher form?
Not higher form, a different species. Strong genes. It's just white people don't have strong genes. I'm not being racist. Let no one take me as if I'm racist, but let's be factual about it. White people cannot survive slavery. Not at all. We live under slavery and these harsh conditions, and we still can smile and be happy. White people cannot do that. There's a doctor in America who make an experience. And then this doctor said, I will take a mile of all you, my white kids, and you need to live like black people. They couldn't survive at all. Because they don't have genes like that. They don't have such power or strength. You have such a strength that you can live under a persecution and still smile.
What is the highest level of human being in the modern context? Should I be breeding with darker skinned women?
Since we're talking about the breeding part, I wouldn't mind breeding with darker women because they have strong genes.
As long as they're educated maybe by the Europeans who are comfortable with violence.
people are educated by Europeans, all of them, all of us. Even me, I'm talking English language, though I've never been in school. So it's a form of communication. It doesn't matter if a person, they are educated by Europeans, so long they can give you better stock.
I would like to understand the artifacts, I'll call it that, or omunye umuntu mhlambe ngesilungu should call it induku. But for me, it looks familiar to some of the pieces that the great Coco Credo Mutua used to carry.
Oh, the artifacts, it's done eventually by grandson of Baba Credo Mutua.
Okay.
Yeah, he has done it for me as a gift. And then it has symbiologies that are family related, meaning Zulu symbiologies. That is why here this guy has imikabo, as you all know. And then here we have a swatika, the unconquered sun. Yeah, the unconquered sun. So this is a artifact that he does, like art. He does art. He's to art. But now he put this cloth that is from Baba Credo Mutua's garment in order to give me, the way he said it, that angfuna ubenama.
I found the video, the audio I'm gonna play of Norman Begren, scientist. May he rest in peace. I will play the interview. It's only about 5 minutes, just to reaffirm what my brother High Priest Zamlik said about our ancestors that traveled very next to the sun. And he, Begren, basically, he's got a book called Ancient Ringmakers of Saturn. And the ringmakers of Saturn, and basically he's talking about our ancestors, and he was just saying about how they move around, the crafts, the size of the crafts that they use. Now, when you listen to this interview, I'm gonna jump in between some of the stuff he's saying, so I can break down how deep this stuff is, because I know a little bit more that adds on to this, which is why I've been saying to you about our ancestors. They're not far. They're watching us, and you might think, oh, this guy's going crazy. No, this is dead, deep truth. A lot of Moors know this. That's high up in the knowledge. And shout out to Dr. Alim Bey, who has been enlightening us for years. More peace, Islam to that brother. Islam to all the Moors that are holding it up and holding it down. You know, we've been doing this for long, spreading this knowledge. But I'm really, really proud of them as well, because this is all part of the same things that we're trying to give our people. So I'm gonna quickly jump in, because I didn't realize whilst I'm playing this, it's right next to me. I can see him literally in my face now. So I'm gonna play this. I have to play this because we just came off of that subject. So whilst we're still hot on it, you're gonna hear Norman Begum talking to a lady called Linda Moulton Howe. She used to have a program called or a series called I can't remember, but she goes into extraterrestrial phenomena. She's dedicated her whole life to it. So let me quickly get into this now. So interview.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about what's happening in the world today. Guys, I just saw a very powerful video of a man, a famed scientist, guys. His name is Norman Begren. This man has worked for NASA before. He has written books about what he believes UFOs actually are, guys. Okay, he's one of those scientists who claims to have seen UFOs, unidentified flying objects. And in this video, guys, he's going to describe a time NASA scientists actually saw a UFO ship land and people actually came out of the ship, okay? And he's going to tell you what those things look like, guys. A very powerful video from someone who is very credible, highly credible, guys. So I want you guys to watch this video and then we'll come back for more discussion at the end, okay?
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, you know, beings who are, you know, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only go along with government images. And if you want to know about people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda the Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
to say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate. There is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
There you have it, guys. There you have it, okay?
Yeah. You see, the energy is good today because things are rolling exactly as I planned it. For once, when I've been doing these shows, it hasn't gone exactly to the way I want it. But yeah, by the grace of the powers that be, by the grace of the highest form I can express my creator, Wallah, you understand me? And I go back, and I think, you know, when I was trying to pray and I messed up my prayers, I think my energies in the spirit didn't want me to say in that language. They want me to go back in the ancient tongue, so say things like Chinewe, yeah, and Allah, because Allah is an ancient name, but it's a goddess, Igbo. You understand me? So, you know, I shout to all my Igbo people out there. I hope you're all listening and getting this. And as for all those who know this, all of my Igbo family that understand this, we say Igbo Kwenu, because you all understand what that means. So yeah, again, you know, I can only say what I know. I can't say what I don't know, and I can't profess and I can't guess. But I'm telling you stuff. I've always known this from a while. And a lot of it was almost like it was an educated guess, but it was, I believe it was my melanin interacting with the memory and interacting with my DNA and getting all this knowledge, because I'm telling you this is like, you know, it's just like a dream come true for me, because now where people used to laugh at me and say, oh, this guy's crazy, he's this and that, I can just smile and laugh because it's all coming out. It's all coming to the forefront. And there's even more to this. As I said, with our ancestors, they've never really been far from us. They're just waiting for us to wake up. And some of them have been seen, you understand me, by the elite, who I believe is waging secret wars against them, as well as the wars that they got against our species. But yeah, there's something going on. You know what I mean? And as I said, we'll get more into that as we move along, because I've got when I get the visuals up, you can only, when I show you the visuals, you will understand it a lot more better. So yeah, we're gonna get back to where I was just last left off with my guy there. You know, he's gone into so much, but I think, you know, because I might have to cut this short, I think with his brother Zamlik, I'm gonna revisit him again, because I think, you know, we talked about basically black privilege, yeah? And this is what this is all about. And it's important that we get this, because as I said to you again, you know, I've gone on this show since I've been on here, been talking about all our injustices, and I'm venting my anger as well, saying about this stuff that's not right, and, you know, all of the stuff which we know again, you know, if we don't chant down Babylon, we ain't gonna win. But we got to also be balanced in our thoughts and in our mind, that we can do and deal with this situation as we have always dealt with it, but this time with more knowledge. Yeah, I mean, and saying to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So, you know, with all of that in mind, we've got to now look at the facts that, you know, we're living in a very, 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 very great time. We're living in a time where, you know, we now finding out more information to back up the glory of our ancestors, and we're starting to understand that the African brother and sister has got something more mystical. They are the progenitors, or the seed that seeded the whole planet. As the brother Zamlik was trying to say, that, you know, everything throughout history has been under our construct. you know, whereas the elites are trying to make you believe it's been underneath their construct. No, all they've just done is stolen our birthright, stolen every single iota of our information, allowed us to see what they think we should see, and lie about everything. So it's important, yeah, that we understand this, yeah, and understand why this is not like a chip on the shoulder thing, as they like to try and say. It's a fact. You know, we are superior beings. You know, we are, you know, definitely our DNA is superior. Yeah, and I can actually claim that because I know my mum and dad are darker than me, for God's sake, and I know my granddaddy black, granny black. You understand me? And I'm proud of that. You know, so, you know, and I've got family members that's European blood, and I don't run from that because that's my blood same way. You know, I've got them from blue eyes down to dark skin. You know, and a lot of the blue eyes and the lighter skin ones do not like my style. Yeah, I mean, and I don't really give a damn because truth is truth. And I've always been this way. They know this. You understand me? And I know with the way I'm pale, I use it like a license to let them know. You understand? Because what you're gonna say? You understand me? Yeah. There's nothing you can say about this. Yeah. And I'm so lucky that I'm on Bless Radio 1 FM. You know, I feel like I'm testifying. I feel like I'm in church testifying. You know what I mean? And I ain't got the what they call it, the tambourine and the things that they beat down. I'm just testifying that, you know, the Most High is beneficent and glorious, and I'm testifying that every single thing that has been written is gonna come to pass. And I'm testifying that, you know, He made us in His image and her image, so that we can go and keep spreading the news, the love, the information, bringing peace, bringing harmony. You know, when He said about us, we're in our peacetime, I could probably believe that we've done so much wrong things that we've decided to be at the peace. That's why when people see pygmies running around in the forest, oh, these little savages, they don't understand. These same pygmies was riding spaceships. You better get your mind around that and then understand that. These same little people weren't always little. So another time I'm going to tell you that story. In fact, I'm not even going to tell you the story. Alim Bey is going to tell you the story, because I've got so much stuff from brother Alim Bey, who's a very, 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 very well-researched and learned brother. If you ever get time to go and look for his stuff, search for it. Old stuff, new stuff. He's back on the circuit. And he's actually yowed me as well for a couple of my comments, which I'm just taking it like, whoa. It's like me, when he yowed me, I was, oh my days. I'm like a little kid, because I look up to this brother. And I say again, Islam to this brother with respect and humility, because what he's, you know, is because of people like him. You know, he inspired me to do what I'm doing today. You know, all the Beys have inspired me. You understand me? There's another brother called Hakim Bey. You know, he's on point. You understand me? There's a lot of our beige brothers out there that have got me up. You know what I mean? That's it inspired me. And brother Asir Duke of Tears. You know what I mean? These modes, you understand me? And as soon you'll be hearing me bringing the Igbo names out as well, because when you hear the way the Igbos recite knowledge to each other, then you will understand how we kept our traditions alive. So yeah, I'm gonna go in, you know, because I really want to try and stretch it as far as I could, but I'm not fully well. I've got a little bit of a bug coming down. Yeah, so I'm gonna play this last one, and then I'll leave off with some music. It is quite long. I don't know if I'll better play all of it, but it's you know, because, you know, we could say what we want, but, you know, when truth is told, nobody could do nothing about it. So I've got this one. It's called Plot by White, that black people should know about. By white, it says plot by white people that black people should know about. And it's called yeah, White Woman Put It All on the Table. So yeah, I'm gonna play this, you understand me? And the reason why I'm playing it is because a lot of people will listen to this, and a lot of my Europeans, white people, whatever, will listen to this and think, oh, who's this brother trying to spread disunity or bring hatred amongst the community or whatever. No, I'm not. I'm just saying the truth. And really, the truth of the matter is that you need to know this, because what your elites that have been bringing you guys up has dummied you all up with a bunch of gobbledygook nonsense. And what drives a lot of you lot insanely mad is when you find out a lot of that is nonsense. You understand me? Especially when you meet us in the flesh and deal with us and talk to us, you realize it ain't what they've showed you. So you need to understand these things. It's going to help you. It's going to be your grace and salvation. You understand me? Especially the ones that's in our bloodline, that's cohabited with some of us and made children. Yeah, you definitely need to be appreciating this because your DNA has been saved. So it's important to know these things. Yeah, it's not to cause no disunity, it's to bring people more closer together. But the only way this world will really understand itself better is when they know the relativity of all things. Where the Chinese man found out in the test, I played in one of the shows when they did the DNA test, and he found out, this Chinese scientist found out that the original DNA came from Africa. Yeah, I mean, and he was so certain he was going to find some little Chinese prototype Chinese man sitting there. Yeah, I mean, and it don't work like that because the prototype of any tribe is one of our tribe. So yeah, I'm gonna leave. The whole point of it was black privilege, feeling the power of our privilege, enjoying the power of our privilege, feeling good about it. You are God's blessed. For those that are stuck in Sunni Islam, we are the Caliphs. It's inside of the Quran. For those who disbelieve. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his tribe comes from Sudan. He's from the tribe of Quraysh. He's Sudanese. And then Sudanese might even link him to the Igbo. You understand me? So you better understand all of this. All of this is interrelated. As I said again, I send fire on all of them racist Muslims that actually believe that they're superior to darker skinned people when it's the reverse way round. To all of these guys, false imams, lying and talking about Bilal and all them nonsense and giving that as a claim for black people in Islam. My God, they're astaghfirullah, they will suffer. Because ignorance is to me, it's a fate worse than death. Because for you dead, you don't even know you're dead. But when you're ignorant, it's like you're alive and don't know you're ignorant. You're walking dead. So yeah, this is what this is. So I'm going to leave off with this one and then play one track. For more love to all my people, for all those that tune in to get the knowledge. As again, I'm very thankful to being put on this platform. More love to Ras Bless. More love to all the Rasses out there. More love to all of my people seeking truth, love and enlightenment. For all of those people that take time out to listen to me, I'm very, very thankful because it's going to help you a lot. I mean, people say, oh, it's a bit rich coming from me. Who do I think I am? I don't think I'm anything. I am just a vessel passing what I know onto you. And it could help you guys if you grasp this and take it seriously as I take it seriously. It is a very important thing to know about your heritage and what you're blessed with and what it's like living in a house and having a whole bare amount of things, just like how I'm living now, with so much things in the yard that can help you and you're not using them. It's just like that. And we are living in a very wasteful society where nothing's appreciated, nothing's respected. So I'm just letting you all know, best respect yourself before you wreck yourself, as Ice Cube put in one of his tunes he did. Yeah, so let's get on to this, and this is for all of my European people speaking the truth out there. For those that speak the truth out there, that unashamedly say the truth, knowing that it's going to put them at odds with the elite and know that even their lives are at stake. You all are my family, right to the dying breath I got, because it takes a brave person to stand up against the going grain of what's accepted and to be actually part of the solution as opposed to being part of the problem, and doing things from a genuine heart, because there are those out there that are not vampiring us, that are not coming to siphon nothing off of us, but coming to bring and add. Those are the people I salutate and send my love and respects to, because this is what this is about. But me hailing up my people, raising them up, sending love to them, and banning the enemy that's got us living in a lie, it's got to be done. You know what I mean? And I love those that understand me enough to realize that I'm not racist. Yeah, I mean, I'm pro-Nubian, I'm pro-melanated being, I'm pro-God, you understand me? And most importantly, I'm pro-truth, yeah? And it's important that we get this, you understand me? Because on my way up, I was wrong in the way I expressed it, and I have been racist in the way I've expressed in the past. I have done things that I'm very ashamed of to other people that wasn't of my tribe, or I didn't deem as my tribe, and I went through life thinking I was superior to everybody and really being just like the elite. You understand me? So I understand all of these things, but now I've come full circle back round, And as people will know me, will know that I've always been talking this. I've always been doing this. This is standard. Even my children, my daughter, she knows this. They all know it. You understand me? And it only makes sense that I'm going to continue what I've started. But this time, I am more enlightened, and I am more in unity with myself and with the spirits that be. And I'm actually getting good knowledge, and I'm happy with the knowledge that I'm getting, that's been given to me. And I feel so pleasured. I feel like I'm sitting around billions of pounds on me that I'm just dashing and distributing to everybody to spend. And this is the spiritual pounds I'm talking, to give you the energy, yeah, that when you face the doldrums of work or the doldrums of the system, just feel good deep inside that you're from a very special place. And that special place you need to claim. You need to go and gravitate towards that. Gravitate towards the music that brings that out of you. Gravitate towards the culture that brings out the best in you. Gravitate. Because as I'm telling you this, the Europeans, a lot of them are gravitating towards our culture. And they're gravitating towards taking our land back again. They're gravitating towards all of the things that we're not claiming. They're trying to claim spirituality. They're trying to, oh my Lord. And you better realize that if you don't claim it, somebody else will. So as I said, that's the one for Black Privilege. This is what I've offered today. I hope you like the offering. I hope it makes sense. I hope it resonates in your brain, in your mind, in your conscious, in your subconscious, in your sleep, in your awake state, in the way that you move, in the trances that you go into, that you are supreme. You come from supreme, and you could only be supreme. Along the journey, you're going to make mistakes. You will have. That's how you learn. That's how children learn. And we are God's children. So, in the learning that we must not draw an underline underneath the lesson and say, yeah, I've learned that and I'm moving on to that now. Do not deliberately go out to make mistakes. Go out there to try and be the best version of yourself that you can, and go out there to do the best that you can do, and that's all you can do. It don't matter what job you're doing, hallowed be my people's name, from Primark to scientist to anything, to road sweeper, to whoever you are. You understand me? May God bless you and keep you up. And when I say God, governor, orchestrator and destroyer, or generator, orchestrator and destroyer, as we Moors break it down, because that's who you are. You have all of these powers. Do you understand me? You are God in the flesh, having a mortal escapade, as I should say. You've incarnated because you're curious to know what this dimension brings or what this world brings. You're here. You understand me? But do something with it. You understand me? Don't let it waste you. Don't let it pass you by. Because the moment is eternal. You understand me? But, the memory could be just like nothing. Yeah, and if, we've got what they call eternal faculties, eternal, but sometimes some of us don't remember. We don't want to remember. So therefore, it's just like you're walking brain dead. And it's almost like you've just lived like a second, And the DNA is forever. You can read your DNA. That's another thing we'll talk about. But anyway, let me play this piece. The reason why I'm playing this piece, to end off on this, is just so you understand that the battle's not over. It never will be over, until, they say, the fat lady sings, or until we understand who we are. Because once we have globally accepted who we are, on the plane of Earth, understand who we are, the change will automatically come. Automatic. Then you will see our ancestors. Then you will see the other beings that there is in this dimension. Then you will understand how wonderful this plane is and how beautiful things can be. You understand me? Because we're here for that. We're only here for the hope of beauty. For some, it's the hope of heaven. Yeah, we're already living in heaven, whether we know this or not. Yeah, it's a state of mind. But what makes me know that this place is heaven is because when you look at the flora and the fauna and the beauty of this earth, it can only be heavenly made. This is heaven. But what makes it hellish is the way we deal with each other and the way we interpret this planet and the way we see things and the way we perceive and do things. That's where the hellishness comes in. Killing animals, killing each other, doing things without thinking, strange habits that's not in your natural way to be. We're just living in hell because it's a choice. You know, and that's why when Kanye was trying to break that down, the choice situation, a lot of people was jumping on his back. They don't understand the way he was trying to break things down. And I understand what the brother was trying to do, and I respect him for that. Because what Kanye is going through right now, I've got nothing but respect. Because he's doing what they would deem as impossible. He's taking a stance. And that's what all you have to do is take a stand. Your ancestors will do the rest. You stand up strong, stand up firm in the ways of what the ancestors' energies will help make the rest happen. And you better believe that, because supernatural workings are always in the background working in your favor. But you have to claim. Make a claim, man. Put it in. You understand me? Better than any DSSS claim. Better than any claim of money. This spiritual claim is freedom to traverse freely through this universe. And as you move along, you'll pick up wealth. You'll pick up stuff. You'll pick up. But what the most important thing is what you keep. And what you keep is the knowledge. And remember this, yeah? So anyway, let me get on to this one.
But often when I speak, I describe myself as a foreigner, as an unwelcome guest on land that my forefathers stole, because South Africans were never welcomed into South Africa. What we did in 3 centuries ago was to come uninvited into this place and to steal and plunder from Black people. And although we are now in a so-called democratic South Africa, the economic power remains in the hands of whites. And I've done a lot of talks recently about the fact that there's so much, and I'm not sure if you saw it when you were in South Africa yourself, there's so much antagonism between Black South Africans and Black Africans from other parts of the continent. We have terrible xenophobia at the moment, or Afrophobia, where Black brothers and sisters are turning on Black brothers and sisters from the continent as if they are the problem for the deep economic inequality and patterns of Black poverty we see in this country, where in truth, the real problem remains white supremacy. So what I write about in my book, and it's been a very popular read for some, but a very unwelcome read for others, is the fact that although we speak about a Black government, a new Black South Africa, that's not true. What we have is a society caught in the clutch of whiteness. Every single sphere of our country is dominated by whites, including the cultural sphere. So Black people actually have succumbed almost to Black culture, to an economy that is completely held in white hands. So little has changed. So whilst economic freedom is a flag that we can lift up and celebrate, the dignity of the Black child and the well-being of a Black child in South Africa today remains as if they are second-rate citizens. And white people, and I don't exempt myself from that class, that category of person, we are treated like squires in the land that we stole from Black people. And that is the uncomfortable truth about South Africa in its current form. Well, I think that we've tried to create the sense that we are a reconciled nation, but I argue that we can't, unequal partners can't reconcile, because all 1994 brought, the so-called freedom in South Africa, is that Black people had to reconcile with their poverty and white people with their privilege. And I speak about the fact that the ANC government, what they've done, and it's such a tragedy, is they've cemented Black poverty in this country and white wealth as if it was a natural phenomenon rather than a monstrosity of apartheid and white supremacy. And that is tragic, because in years to come, the children of our children are going to believe.
Now, what she's saying is deep, because what you're going to realize is that when people were salutating Nelson Mandela and all this stuff and demonizing Winnie, things was really the opposite way around. Winnie was the one that was liberating South Africans, and Nelson was the one that was making it normal, as you said, normalized poverty. Because the whole part of the ANC, how they was conceived, right? A lot of people do not know this, and I want people to verify if I'm wrong or right. But what I know of it, and I was told this reliably, is that the women were the starters of the ANC. Because when the black men used to come home, bruised and battered by the white supremacy and the treatment that they received, and spiritually dejected and whatever, their man who taken literally, they used to come home and be home moping and whatever. It was the women that couldn't take that. They couldn't see their men like that. You understand me? So they went out with sticks and fought, and that forced the men to create a body of men, which they started to call ANC. So this is how I understand what she's saying now. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people will have, oh yeah, Nelson was a no, he wasn't. He wasn't the freedom fighter people made him out to be. He was a puppet of the elite. And there's actual photos you will get of him with Jesuits wearing the Jesuit regalia and all of that stuff, which lets you know he works for these guys. You understand me? And maybe he spent 29 years in prison, maybe he didn't. You know what I mean? I don't believe any of this. I think all of these puppets, they keep them somewhere nice and feed them nicely and look after them to keep them strong enough to keep doing their bidding. So yeah, this is what she's saying is deep. And I'm glad she's saying it, because, if I'd have said it, a lot of people would say, oh my God, he's just griping on again. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to play this piece again.
Is by nature poor, and that the white wealth that we see in this country is how it should be. And that is a terrible legacy for the ANC. And it hurts me. I'm not speaking from the perspective of not having once had belief in the ANC government. I used to be an avid ANC supporter, but what I've had to reconcile myself with is that the ANC government is more interested in looking after white interests than the black majority. And what I argue in my book is that reconciliation in 1994 in this country was a white man's medicine that has harmed black people, that has put black liberation way out of sight. And you've seen it yourself. Black people are forced to live in the most congested, almost concentration camps of poverty, where white wealth is excessive.
Yeah, this is true, because South Africa, I read somewhere that the white minority, they own almost more than 70% of the land in South Africa, while the black majority, they only own around 18 or less than 20% of the land in South Africa. So there's no equality in that manner. So that's why you see, like, the ANC and these political parties, they always want to put forward the interest of the few, because they know that's where the money is. So they get funded by the white minority who have the most wealth, and then they will always look at the other way from the black majority, who needs more help in getting the equality that they need. Because now they say that they had independence, but really it's not independence, it's just the whitewash, so that they just keep going exploiting the black population in South Africa.
There has not been any shift, or very little shift, in the economic landscape in South Africa since 1994. That economic liberation has not happened in this country. And I used to think that possibly that was just because the ANC government perhaps was slightly naive or trusting. But what I'm beginning to realize or believe is that the ANC government, it was by design that whiteness continued to rule. It's as if the tender of whiteness has continued, because the preservation of white economic power at the expense of black people still exists. So I refer to this country not as a country but as a colony, because that is what it is.
This is true not only in South Africa, it's true in most of the African countries. I made a video about talking about how France is using the economic power to exploit their former colonies. So the most of our African countries, we didn't get independence the way it's supposed to be. It's fake independence. That's why now there's always exploitation, and the black man or the black child is not benefiting at all from this the so-called independence and economic power or democracy that we think we have.
The country is still in the worship of whiteness, in the curtsy of whiteness. And the issue really, and I'm not sure what you saw, because I would love to share more of your experiences, because you were here as a on the ground and you saw much. But what is really the situation is that the boot of white supremacy is really strangling people. And I don't believe that black people have had a breath of freedom or dignity. And that, you know, it's just tragic. I believe that nothing is going to shift in this country until the mind shifts from a consciousness of reconciliation to one of true black consciousness, possibly using the doctrine of Steve Biko, who was the greatest leader I think we've had in this country, and looking at like a Malcolm X equivalent in the States. But at the moment, black people are still, I think, too tolerant of whiteness. They still believe that white people would change. And yet we've seen across the world, white oppressors have never shown any mercy. And I ask a very difficult question in my book. I say, do white people in South Africa have a moral conscience? Because if we did, we would have returned stolen land. We wouldn't ignore the patterns of deep poverty that is actually of our making. We walk past that as if it has got nothing to do with us, but it's got everything to do with us. So I think we're in a sad state, actually. Black unity in South Africa is not in place. Black disunity being the teething gel of white supremacy, and it's deliberate. I mean, the fact is, what's fascinating, in our last election, there were 46 political parties, I think, black political parties, but only 2 parties that represented white interests, and people were celebrating democracy. But when you look at that state, you wonder, why would there be 46 parties to represent black people? If that could be amalgamated into one formation, that would be power. But the level of disunity which you point to is exactly what is the problem, and it's orchestrated by whiteness. But I also speak in my book and about the power of the mind, and I do say that the most problematic thing in South Africa is not that white people occupy the land or the economic sector or the stock exchange, but that whites occupy the minds of black people, because whiteness is still held up in this country, perhaps not by the younger generation, and that's where there's some hope, but by most of the people as the state to be. So what we have with many black people in this country still is that they aspire to be white. And that's a big thing to say, and I may be criticized for that. But that white affirmation is more important than black consciousness. So to be accepted by a white person still has more equity than to be part of the black community. And I'm making a sweeping generalization, but that is true in my view. And until that is shifted, it's a consciousness. We are living with a warped consciousness in this country, where white people have shown no remorse, so they're stuck in this I am a superior being mentality. But the tragedy is that a lot of black people still believe that white people are superior. So we've never dealt properly with the mental trauma of colonialism and apartheid on the mind of a black person. And I've said in many interviews that I just wish that black people would not expect anything from white people. And they still cling to the possibility that they can work together with white people to achieve a democratic nation. And white people have showed no will. So all the efforts for reconciliation in this country have come from black people, but they've come to naught. And I remember reading, when I was preparing some research for another book, there was a missionary called Albert Schweitzer, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, who did a lot of travels in Africa. And he said, the black man or the African man is my brother, but he's my junior brother. And what's happening in South Africa is that black people are acting as if they are junior partners in the relationship. They are accommodating themselves in white businesses, in media slots. They may be the faces, but they don't have the power. And until black people realize that they need to transform rather than find accommodation in a white system, nothing's going to change. There needs to be a sense, Steve Biko, who's, I'm not sure how in the States, if you're so familiar with his work, but he was a black consciousness leader who was assassinated, as many leaders were in this country when their doctrine threatened white interests. And he said, black man, you are on your own. And that's exactly correct. And until that is understood, nothing is going to shift. And the younger generation is less tolerant. I had the great privilege and learnings to be part of the economic freedom fighters movement in South Africa. It's the third biggest political party, and it's run by Julius Malema, who left the ANC and started a formation that's doing very well. And it's a party that's very resonant amongst young people, and they're taking up the causes of young black people in this country. And I think there is some hope in formations like that and the Black Land, Black First movement. But it's so impossible to almost assert blackness in this country. For instance, the Black Land First movement was formed. It was a political party that refused to have white members. And then constitutionally, they were not able to participate in the election because it was said you cannot have a political party that excludes whites. So I often think in South Africa, which is a black country, there's no space for black voices, actually, without the watchtower of whiteness. That a political party can't say, we need the space to be black without white supervision, without a white voice, and they're not allowed to do that because of the Constitution. That is the reality. So that's why I was saying earlier in the interview, unless the consciousness shifts to say this is enough, it's untenable to always be under the tutelage of whiteness, under the supervision of whiteness. And you may have seen a lot of businesses where the whites still owned the company. But there's often a sense amongst black people of my age that unless there's a white person there, it's not going to succeed. And it's a terrible mentality. So I often think that, the fact that white people think they're superior, it's not going to change. It's something that is a sickness, a terminal illness amongst white people. But when I see some black people actually agreeing with that doctrine, that actually maybe white people are superior, it's shocking. And I think that does exist. An African American called Dr. Tim Burrell, and he says demystifying the myth of black inferiority. And I've read that book many times, and he speaks about how white people for centuries were actually mastered the art of white supremacy. It was they did it so well. But what's happening now in America and beyond is that they've taken that baton and given it to black people, and black people have actually carried on the race and literally finished off the race on behalf of whiteness. And in South Africa, I think there has been a co-option of certain black people into the system, so that white people no longer have to be doing the oppression. They have security guards protecting their interests, and those people are black. And I think any system of white supremacy works on the basis of co-option of black people. And that's a conversation. In fact, I had a discussion with that on another American channel, and they found my view problematic because
Well,
I was
hold
putting
on.
some-
What American? Okay, who were you interviewing with? A black person or a white person?
It was a black person who said, I'm now putting the culpability on black people for their own oppression.
Well,
but
let me
in my
respond to
view,
that. Let me respond to that. Okay, they've always been black people that sold out other black people for a long time, whether it's in slavery, other black people assisting the white supremacists, even all the way up until now. You look in America, we have a black political class that assists white supremacy in doing nothing for black folks at all. They do nothing for us, but they prioritize everybody that white supremacy wants to prioritize.
the lack of speaking of African languages and there's the assertion of cultural richness of African society is still not on the main stage in South Africa at the moment. It's white values, white economy, white man first. In fact, South Africa today, we call it the Rainbow Nation, but it's a white wonderland. It's a wasteland of black economic liberation, but it's a wonderland for whiteness. And that's very sad because you would assume that white supremacy had died, but all I'm seeing is that it has been supersized and is very much in play in what we call a free South Africa.
Maybe you can explain that. Why white folks in African countries that I've seen, what's the difference with us versus an African that you have seen in a response?
People, I'm coming to the end now. I'm going to play a couple of tracks to sign me off on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening. I hope this has been informative. I hope you've understood what's going on. I had to play that piece at the end just to let you know that it's like this thing is a unity thing. We want everybody on board for the truth and everybody to work together to bring a lovely and beautiful planet to the way it's meant to be. So on that level, on that note, I'm going to leave off with some beautiful music from my people as we've been on talking about black privilege and the beauty of being black. Again, my people, just feel good, feel strong, feel safe, have a beautiful week. For all of my people living out on thing that's all around the world, because I know this is a live internet. All around the world, we send love. We send more greetings to my Moorish brothers and sisters. We send even more love. We send even more greetings to all of my Ras brothers and sisters. I say respect. To all my Muslim brothers and sisters, Salam Alaikum. To all my Jewish, Shalom Alaikum. To all you all, spread more love, Ashay, and more power, African black power to all my peoples. I send more love again. So I'm going to play a little Ghanaian track as I do to, I'm going on Ahomko Womo by VIP. So yeah, this is old school tracks for all the old school Ghanaians that know this one, want to throw their foot up. You're allowed to do that. If you're just putting the food out, you can shake the hips to it. I know some of my African sisters can really throw that the body around a bit and make us get mesmerized. Enjoy, stay focused. Okay, bless. Yeah, we got Blessed Extra YouTube. Was it video channel? YouTube channel itself coming out. So we got so much in the pipeline coming. The governor's just been telling me. Yeah, so you know we're doing Blessed Radio on Extra FM. We bring love, we bring unity, we bring knowledge, wisdom, guidance. We're spreading the love around as best as we can. We want everybody to feel that love, enjoy that love, and know that you are loved. This is the whole reason what drives us to do what we do. We do it for the sake of the love. We don't do it for no likes or for no this or for that. And as I said, you're not going to even hear me say subscribe, the word subscribe or the word like. You don't have to, you know. This is what I'm giving to you. Your spirit will direct you to do what you need to be doing. And that's the most important thing. So yeah, enjoy. Ahomko Wu Mo VIP.
Me see me can the one say me ne de yem gay. Obama me water, Obama me feel it better. I want me up to me change me hand sweater. What when him so bad, yeah me number one lover. I been a look at him say oh your man was special. Or the into boy say ain't ya see no me tina. Oba with yeah, Obama me pressure. Umpe we I jack wall, umpe there so Tim man name mema. Pen sweet now I'm a big wiper. They say all your bar VIP just say very important personality. The BPR and your quality. Ampa, obey, or quit the beauty. Some more feeling, some more check it, some more dig it. Or draw home at Tiani when I'm a fuck at